Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Commissioners. Rubio. Here. Ryan.
Here.
Gonzalez. Maps.
Here.
Miller.
Here. We'll now hear from legal counsel on the rules of order and decorum. Good morning, Lindley.
Good morning. Welcome to the Portland City Council. To testify before council in person or virtually, you must sign up in advance on the council agenda at www.portland.gov/council/agenda. Information on engaging with City Council can be found on this council clerk's webpage. The presiding officer preserves order and decorum during City Council meetings. The presiding officer determines the length of testimony. Individuals generally have 3 minutes to testify unless otherwise stated. A timer will indicate when your time is done. Disruptive conduct such as shouting, refusing to conclude your testimony when your time is up, or interrupting others' testimony or council deliberations will not be allowed. If you cause a disruption, a warning will be given. Further disruption will result in ejection from the meeting. Anyone who fails to leave once ejected is subject to arrest for trespass. Additionally, council may take a short recess and reconvene virtually. Your testimony today should address the matter being considered. When testifying, state your name for the record. Your address is not necessary. Disclose if you are a lobbyist. If you are representing an organization, please identify it. For testifiers joining virtually, please unmute yourself once the council clerk calls your name. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks a lot. All right, first up is communications. First item, please, 107, Keelan.
Request of Lucas Angus to address council regarding monuments and engagement grant.
Good morning, Lucas. Thanks for being here.
Tatsmewi. Good morning. Inam Wanikdwas Ibn Huknan. My name is Transforms himself. My English name is Lucas Angus. I'm here on behalf of my community, my native community, and I speak for Seven Waters Canoe Family, Indigenous cultural group here in Portland. I'm born here in Portland. I'm an enrolled member of Nez Perce tribe. With descendancy from Cayuse, which is Umatilla tribe. And I'm also Tlingit and Haida on my mother's side. I'm coming here to talk about the monument project. I've had a little bit of research into it and a little bit of hearsay, and just I wanted to comment and let you all know that I'm not very happy with the moving forward on that project, and I'm very distrusting of the use of funds. I haven't experienced much in the way of outreach to my community. I've seen almost nothing. The only opportunity to engage other than going on the website myself is, somebody sending me a text and saying, hey, check this out. So from the city, I don't, learning that there's $350,000 grant from Mellon Foundation to do outreach, I'm not very impressed. And just for me and my community, there was a big push to have those monuments come down. And a lot of people have experienced a lot of positivity from that. My community has suffered, pretty historic atrocity. I call myself a survivor of genocide. I call myself a survivor of, pandemic that came here from Europe. I call myself a survivor, and to see such monuments of white power that I experienced my whole life as a Portlander come down was a beautiful thing. I would be shocked to see. I wouldn't be shocked, but I would personally be feel insulted to have monuments go back up or even have the discussion on the table. And I think it would be a disservice to people of all descendancy to have those, as I've heard people say, important pieces of history on display. There should be a more honest display of history, one that reflects genocide, slavery, and general sadness and ongoing racism. Matt Kiskutz, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate your perspective. Commissioner Ryan.
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for coming, Lucas, and I really appreciate your testimony. My person on my team, Darian Jones, is online listening, and he'll reach out to you right after the meeting. First of all, I wanted you to know that. Second of all, there will be a process. I was disappointed when I met with the team doing engagement in October, and there hadn't been any movement since the meeting in July. I was merely trying to get the engagement back on track. So we will be in communication with you, and the people in your community that you want us to reach out to will be a part of the process as well. So no final decisions have been made, but we just have a policy that will be coming up that shows what it's like to go through taking down of monuments. So there's a policy that says this is the way that we think that they should come down, that would engage the community. And then we'll have a process about how they go up, and for sure there will be honest history no matter what if they come back up. If anything comes back up, there will be storytelling that explains the truth. So I appreciate you being here, and Darian Jones will be in touch with you today, and I hope that you two have a chance to have a conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thanks, and I'll just say I'm interested in where this all lands, and I have a prediction. I have a prediction that where it lands will please nobody. That this process is inherently going to be a process of compromise. People have different perceptions of history. People have different backgrounds, experiences. They view history through different lenses. And as humans, that doesn't surprise me. That's why we have this study of history. And so when we try to manifest history through physical monuments, there will be disagreements. Every time a new monument goes up anywhere, there's people who say that the monument should not be there or it should be there. And so my hope is this, knowing what I know today, because I know the people of this city, that nobody will be pleased with the outcome. I hope we can all acknowledge that it will be a fluid process. And you used the word learning, and Commissioner Ryan used the word learning. And I hope that's where this ends, that we can have honest, open, unedited discussions about history, about the past, about the future. But looking for us to manifest complex, fluid, emotional ideas through statues strikes me as being a virtually impossible thing to do. And so I'm very much just sort of stepping back and seeing where this process leads. But I go in with a degree of skepticism that when we get to the end of it, everybody's going to cheer and say, this is the greatest thing ever. My prediction is it will forward the conversation, hopefully in an emotional and thoughtful and inclusive way. But the idea that we would have no monuments, or the idea that anybody can place a monument anywhere they want, those are obviously bookends, and everything in the middle is nuanced. And so I'm just asking you to stay engaged, stay in the process, and understand that at the end of the day, compromise will be required.
I heard the last week when this and another testimony was up here, that the word equity, like that is brought up on a daily basis, and I'm wondering in a population of predominantly white people, how that works out when we do community outreach, especially as again, from a population that suffered such historic loss of our own population in our homelands.
Fair point.
And I'm glad that you and Darian will be talking, and I really appreciate that you came. There's a lot of misinformation out there about this process, including a website that I just found out about. So thanks for being here, and I look forward to knowing that you're part of the engagement. Your voice matters. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Next individual, please, Keelan. Item 108.
Request of Sarah Reeser to address council regarding safe streets. Sarah is joining us online.
Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. Good morning, Mayor Wheeler and members of the City Council. My name is Sarah Risser, and I'm here to talk about Portland's public safety crisis of deadly roads. I keep track of fatal crashes in Portland. This is a very sad and a very grim project, but it's clarified a few things that are worth considering. The rate at which people are killed while driving, walking, or cycling in Portland is as steady as a heartbeat. It's like the ongoing pulse of a metronome. Portland road fatalities have become nearly as predictable as the sun rising each morning. And this is not because road fatalities are inevitable. Nearly every road fatality is preventable. It's because our transportation system is deadly by design. The loss of a life in road traffic is no less tragic than a life lost to gun violence, yet it often seems the value of a life is immediately diminished if it's lost in traffic. We shrug it off as an unfortunate accident instead of holding ourselves to a higher standard by demanding that we apply lessons learned from each crash throughout the city to ensure road safety is continually improved and similar violence doesn't happen again. Picture, if you will, a sniper at large in Portland who kills one random person every week. It's not hard to imagine how terrorized the city would be. All resources would be deployed to find that person and bring them to justice. Yet the loss of life would be no more than what we are experiencing now. It's a valid question that I pose to you today. Why do you tolerate violent death when it's caused by vehicular traffic? I'll again express my surprise that you, sitting in positions of relative power, have done so little to address Portland's most pressing public safety crisis. What I have heard from Mayor Wheeler more than a few times is that reckless driving is to blame. But expressing frustration and wishing it away is not a road safety solution. This won't get us anywhere because reckless driving is the symptom of an unsafe transportation system, not the cause of it. We have too many oversized vehicles capable of unnecessarily high speeds on streets that prioritize vehicles without protecting pedestrians and cyclists. If you look where road fatalities are happening, you will see that they are clustered on fast roads like 82nd and Sandy Boulevard. Until you find the political will to take decisive action to address the systemic problems in our transportation system, the steady drumbeat of violent death will go on unabated. We will continue to worry and wonder who will be killed this year. Will it be a child? A doctor crossing the street to their clinic, a mother? Maybe it'll be one of us sitting here in this room. It's past time to formally acknowledge road violence as Portland's top public safety crisis. You are leaders. You need to start working intentionally to address Portland's road safety crisis. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Maps.
Sarah, I want to thank you very much for testifying today. Like you, I share your concern and frustration and despair at the traffic deaths that we face on our streets. In your comments, you said our transportation system is deadly by design. Well, I completely agree that we need to continually make improvements to our transportation infrastructure. You know, here's the frame that I think about transportation in the city. We have our infrastructure, and then we have our rules and systems that we use to manage this. Our infrastructure, PBOT is deeply committed to and is out there every day making structural changes and improvements to our roads and sidewalks and crosswalks. And we will continue doing that for as long as I'm here. I think you said something which actually I do kind of disagree with. You said that our unsafe driving is a symptom of our unsafe system. And here, I'm not sure if I agree with you on that. You know, when I take a look at traffic fatalities in the Portland metro area, the vast majority of them include individuals who are high or drunk. Often both folks fall into that category. I do think that there are things that the city of Portland can do around that. Frankly, that would be increased traffic enforcement. Indeed, I would argue if you take a look at the increase in traffic fatalities over recent history, one of the things that is clearly correlated with is the city getting out of the business of doing traffic enforcement. Once we did that, we saw traffic fatalities go up. That's why I am in a continuous dialogue with my colleagues on council to try to get increased traffic enforcement back on the books. Just yesterday, we had a budget hearing from our public safety folks. I know that we operate in a constrained environment on the public safety side. And indeed, I think at the end of this week, you will hear me present the budget numbers for my bureaus, including the Bureau of Transportation, which currently faces a $35 million in cuts in next year's budget. I'm working with my colleagues and members of the community to try to shrink that gap so that we continue to invest in building a safer road infrastructure. But in addition to the stuff that we do in the PBOT side, I really need my colleagues on council to come together to figure out how we can continue to make our community safer, especially around traffic enforcement. And she's exactly right. As I mentioned before, I think that we actually lose more people at this point through traffic deaths than we do through homicides, which frankly wasn't the way it was even 2 years ago.
Yeah, and Sarah, I'm tempted not to take the bait, but I'll take it anyway. I said more than what you characterized me as having said. I did indeed say that personal behavior it plays a huge role in terms of traffic fatalities in our streets, and Commissioner Maps just gave the data. And I would just argue distracted driving in general tends to be a problem, in addition to people who are drunk and high, which continues to be a problem. There's very little government can do about that except enforce the law and make sure that people who drive drunk or high are separated from their privileges to drive. And by the way, a couple of the crashes we've had this year have actually been people who have already had their licenses removed. So behavior does matter, but that's not exclusively what I said. I want to underscore what I did say, which is we understand that there are infrastructural improvements that need to be made. And I mentioned two in particular, and I think you were there. The first is speed bumps. We know where the 3 top roads are in this city that contribute to traffic fatalities. And what if just on an emergency basis, we just decided to put speed bumps on those streets until we do the longer term engineering solution in order to slow people down on those throughways? Well, Commissioner Maps correctly pointed out to me that we don't control those roads. Those are actually state highways. But that's no excuse for a lack of action. That means we just need to lobby our colleagues at the state harder. And Sarah, we would love to have you join us shoulder to shoulder in doing that too. And then, of course, the second area is the crosswalks. It should not be a dangerous, risky proposition to walk across the street in Portland, Oregon. And the idea that some people get run over in crosswalks that are not only brightly signed, but they're brightly lit and they have flashing lights, and still people die in those intersections. We need to do more. We need to be more thoughtful, more clever, more creative in terms of how that infrastructure is actually created in order to stop those traffic fatalities. Last but not least, please do not say we do not care about traffic fatalities. You can call me anything you want, call me names, poke fun of me, make things up about what I did or didn't say, but do not say we do not care about people dying on our streets, or frankly, people dying from gun violence or people dying from any other purpose. That's why I'm here, frankly. Just letting you know that that's my perspective, and I'm a short-termer here, and I'm just going to be speaking truth right back to people speaking truth. Commissioner Maps and then Commissioner Ryan.
I think Commissioner Ryan had his hand up first.
Yeah, but you could go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And I appreciate this discussion around especially the enforcement piece. I think that's where our low-hanging fruit is. I also want to reference the work session on public safety we had yesterday. One of the things that we learned in that work session is that, at least for the next couple of years, we expect staffing levels in the police bureau to be flat. That's not because we're doing a bad job of recruitment, but rather we have an older workforce there, so people are retiring, and as you do that mix, we stay flat. So one of the puzzles I'm trying to figure out, and I very much look forward to dialoguing with the mayor and Commissioner Gonzalez and every smart person in the room, is to figure out how we do increased traffic enforcement when our police force is relatively flat for the next couple of years. That's going to be a challenge. I also think that this is it takes a whole village to build a transportation system. One option here would be to continue to work with our state partners to see if we can get the state police to help
Yes.
manage some of our roads. And we've had some, I mean, to be fair, the governor, I think, has been very open to conversations like this. I would posit that this is a conversation that we need to elevate, and frankly need to elevate between now and the end of the fiscal year, so we have kind of a plan moving forward. And this condition is not going to change for the next 2 years, given what we know about how fast we can onboard police.
Yeah, and to that point, I'll get to Commissioner Ryan in just a minute. And Sarah, I see you have your hand raised. I'll make sure you get the last word on this. Yesterday, Governor Newsom announced in California that he was sending 120 state troopers to Oakland to help with local law enforcement related issues. And Oakland, of course, has even more significant issues than we do. It's really a city that right now is in trouble. But I do think that state officers are starting to realize that municipal governments are being swamped by crisis after crisis after crisis with fairly limited authority and fairly limited resources. Again, getting back to the point that, I believe 2 of the 3 most dangerous crossings in our city are not on city streets, they're on state highways. And we don't have jurisdiction there. So it requires us to do more to partner. Commissioner Ryan, and then Sarah, you get the last word.
Well, first of all, Sarah, thanks for being here, and Commissioner Maps and Mayor, great thoughtful dialogue. I didn't know I was going to mention this, but on Sunday I was on Willamette and the yellow lights were flashing and cars just kept going. And then finally I was my turn to stop, so I did, but I was just shocked how many cars went through while the lights were flashing. So I don't know how to explain that type of behavior. It was sunny. And we had sunshine on Sunday. It was in the afternoon. There was no reasons that it wasn't weather related. Commissioner, I wanted to bring up, someone came in not too long ago and talked about daylighting.
Yeah.
And in Hoboken, New Jersey, it's been tested. And I know just from both as a pedestrian and as a driver, it's so hard to see over the big SUVs and the other big trucks. And so I just hope that dialogue is turning into some action. It seems like a sensible step in terms of safety.
Commissioner Ryan, it absolutely is. Daylighting is one of the strategies that PBOT is implementing. It's relatively cheap. We'll see more of that in the future. For those of you watching at home, daylighting is kind of the notion that let's not let people park right next to the corner so you can see around. I will tell you, I have to navigate as I take my kid back and forth from soccer practice, and like probably 16th and Burnside, in fact, it's right across the street from Lolo Pass. There's a situation like that. It's dangerous as all get out. There's just no way to navigate that, especially given the speeds that are on Burnside. Sarah's point that there's engineering work to be done here is absolutely true. As all of you know, PBOT spends tens of millions of dollars every year improving our infrastructure. We're deeply committed to doing that. Today we have a new PBOT, kind of a bread and butter PBOT, trying to get the basics right. Safety is job number 1. At the same time, I want everyone here to know that PBOT is probably the most financially distressed bureau in this city. And number 2, infrastructure isn't the entire answer. All right, and Mr. Mayor, we can debate which bureau has it worse, but certainly PBOT faces some real challenges.
Not good.
It's not good, and I'm committed to making it better. And with that, Sarah, you've been very patient, so why don't I hand the floor to you?
Sarah, you got to close this out. And by the way, thank you for being here, and thank you for provoking a really important conversation. So thank you.
Sure. I will be brief. Most importantly, I want to thank you all for the discussion that we had this morning briefly. I appreciate all the thought that you have put into this, and I appreciate your hard work. That's the most important thing that I want to convey. I also want to say, point of clarification, I agree that driving behavior is terrible. It's egregious. The point I was trying to make is that I believe personally we can be more effective by ensuring streets don't encourage dangerous driving. And finally, I just wanted to say I don't presume, Mayor Wheeler, to know what you care about. I think my point was I feel we should be doing more.
I think we can agree. We agree on that, and I appreciate you. Thank you, Sarah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next individual, please. Item number 109.
Request of John Pimentel to address council regarding housing and assistance services discriminatory practices.
Great.
Is John here? John Pimentel?
John?
I don't think they're here.
Okay, we'll go right to the next person, please. Item number 110.
Request of Madeline Tucker to address council regarding call for a ceasefire in Palestine.
Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Hello,
Hi.
my name is Madeline. I have been a resident of Portland for 3 years now, relocating from the Bay Area, where, as you may be aware, the many cities in the area, including San Francisco and Oakland, have adopted ceasefire resolutions. I am also a small business owner here in Portland. I recently celebrated the 1-year anniversary of my business, and I am thrilled to be expanding this year, which means I will be paying more taxes to the city as I grow. I am here as both a citizen and as a small business owner to call for the city of Portland to join over 50 other municipalities who have already called for a resolution for an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Palestine. 2 weeks ago, dozens of your constituents gathered in this room to call for a ceasefire resolution. I was disappointed but unsurprised by your lack of consideration or acknowledgement to their testimony. What did surprise me was the tasteless video Commissioner Gonzalez shared to his Instagram later that day, seemingly mocking the earnest pleas of his constituents, some of which shared heartbreaking personal testimony of the effects of this genocide on their families here and abroad, a genocide being funded in part by our tax dollars. In fact, according to the U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights, the estimated military contributions to Israel from Portlanders in federal taxes was over $10 million last year. In a later statement on social media, Commissioner Gonzalez also suggested that local democratic institutions of Portland are not involved in foreign affairs. This is untrue, and I would like to put on the record a fact to the contrary, so at the very least you cannot continue to feign ignorance on the matter. The city of Portland has been sister cities with Ashkelon, Israel since 1987. According to Section 1G of the criteria for sister city relationships, quote, the city of Portland and the proposed sister city shall have cultural, educational, economic, governmental, and social interests in common. Our city council at the time voted to agree to form a sister city relationship with Ashkelon, Israel, but when it comes to calling for a ceasefire from Israel, the city council suddenly does not involve itself in foreign affairs. If you want to continue to use that excuse for your silence on the crisis in Palestine, then at the very least you must disband the sister city relationship immediately. This fact aside, local voices and local silence matters. When we speak up, we set the stage for what is tolerable for us. When we stay silent, we allow the status quo to become acceptable. I cannot accept what is happening. Can you? Just last week, the Multnomah County commissioners heard testimony from 15 citizens. The commissioners not only acknowledged the gravity of what they heard, but each member also made a statement to the constituents at the end of their scheduled business, making a commitment to draft a ceasefire resolution and to have it ready for voting by their next meeting. Will you join them, or will you continue to remain silent? Keep this in mind. The voters of Portland are paying attention. We're listening, we're watching, and we care. And if you are committed to the indifference you have thus far demonstrated, that attention will be reflected at the ballot boxes this fall. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to make a comment. First of all, thank you for being here and expressing your opinion. That's what communications is for. I am actually optimistic for the first time in 4 months that real progress towards peace is being made. And as I'm sure you're aware, yesterday it was disclosed that the United States, Qatar, Israel, and Hamas are in 4-way negotiations. And they're attempting to do a couple of things. Number one, a ceasefire, as you were here to request today. But they're actually going beyond that. They're also looking at the release of the hostages, humanitarian aid going into Gaza immediately, and also beginning the process of a long-term strategy for peace in that part of the world that has obviously been struggling to find a peaceful path for many, many years. I support that process, and I want you to know that. That is what I'm advocating for. I hope those 4 parties working together and collaboratively will reach an agreement. It's notable that both Israel and Hamas are still at the table. They are still exchanging ideas back and forth, so they are communicating really for the first time since the situation started 4 months ago, and I think we should all get behind that process. That's where I am. Thank you for being here.
So no further progress on the city
I just
resolution?
gave you my statement.
All right.
Thank you. And one more, communications, item 111, actually. 111.
Request of Josh Heinerfeld to address council regarding urban forest plan update.
Welcome, Josh.
Good morning. I'm Josh Heinerfeld here in the capacity as a private citizen. I've resided in South Portland for nearly 26 years, and I'm here to discuss a topic that's been in the news of late, our urban tree canopy. You may be aware that Portland's tree canopy coverage declined from 30.7% in 2015 to 29.8% in 2020. The Connecting Canopies Coalition proposes increasing the tree's canopy in the city to 35% by 2030. To achieve this laudatory and ambitious goal, city staff who are updating Portland's forest plan would need to re-engineer how the city plants and maintains trees. I'm going to elaborate. To increase the city's tree canopy to 35%, I estimate that the city would need to plant between 74,000 and 130,000 trees per year over the next 7 years. This is a conservative estimate, for it doesn't account for death of previously installed trees. In 2021, urban forestry planted 10,000 trees. So how might urban forestry go about increasing its annual tree planting and maintenance efforts by a factor of at least 7x? I suggest that they begin by critically scrutinizing the effectiveness of existing programs and policies, researching urban forestry strategies that have worked in other cities, and engaging in a broad public-private coalition to help them carry out this work. Here's an example of a Portland tree policy that I believe hinders tree planting. City code stipulates that the minimum caliper of replacement trees planted on private property, as well as on public streets, must be at least 1.5 inches. Is that prudent, given that the price tag of these trees, not to mention the logistical challenges entailed in sourcing, hauling, and planting these large trees? My research suggests that the urban forestry work undertaken by New York City could offer Portland lessons on how to proceed. In 2007, Mayor Michael Bloomberg set a goal of planting 1 million trees throughout New York City. The city achieved this goal within 8 years and increased the inventory of trees in the city by 20% through effective coordination of public and nonprofit organizations, as well as tapping the efforts of tens of thousands of volunteers. If New York City can do this, so can Portland. Honorable City Council members, I urge you to challenge Parks and Recreation to craft an urban forest plan that is both ambitious and achievable, notwithstanding the challenges wrought by increased residential infill projects, hotter and drier summers, and incursions of new pathogens and pests. Done right, we can build and sustain an urban tree canopy that protects our most vulnerable citizens from scorching temperatures, enhances biodiversity, and beautifies this great city that we call home. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. First of all, thanks for being here. That was superb testimony. You're needed and wanted in this conversation, so thanks for stepping up. I want to say that Joey, you're here, right, in the chambers? Joey has his hand up. He works directly with the head of Parks, Director Long, and I'd like him to have some more dialogue with you and get you further engaged in this conversation. And to the people in urban forestry that are out there working a lot of overtime right now, keep it up. Let's know that the storm isn't over until all the cleanup is done. And so we're in this together, and we really need you at the table. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
All right, to the time certain, it's my understanding that there's been a request from the individuals for 112 to move that later in our agenda.
Can we do a check? I think I see some of the Steve Lowenstein people in the room. Do we have our whole team here now? Do you guys want to wait for a little bit?
We're expecting 10:30.
Okay, that's fine. I think that was the plan.
So could you just sort of wave to me when you think your whole crew's here, just wave, and if I don't see it, Megan will see it or somebody will see it. And if I still don't see it, then throw something at me. Great, thank you. So let's see, second time CERN is 10:05, and look at that, it's 10:05. Before I forget, though, let's do the consent agenda. Have any items been pulled off of consent?
Item 115.
115 has been pulled. Please call the roll on the remainder of the consent.
Rubio. Aye. Ryan.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Maps.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye. The consent agenda is adopted. Item number 113, please.
Authorize a contract-specific special procurement with service for the Smart Discount Program not to exceed $350,000.
Commissioner Max.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Colleagues, this item comes to us from the Water Bureau and the Bureau of Environmental Services. This ordinance authorizes those bureaus to enter into a contract with service for the Smart Discount Program. With this contract, the city's utility bureaus will purchase a new tool which will improve and advance the distribution of financial assistance for water and sewer bills. Now, let me give you some background on this item. Back in 1994, Portland City Council approved the creation of the Financial Assistance Program in the Portland Water Bureau. At that time, this program was the most progressive utility bill relief program in the nation. However, today, our one-size-fits-all design is outmoded and no longer meets Portland's affordability needs, especially in these challenging economic times. Now, the ordinance before us today will help Portlanders combat the rising cost of living, and here's how we'll do that. The Smart Discount Program will allow the bureaus to distribute bill discounts more equitably and efficiently to customers in need. With this program, Portland's utility bureaus will use, and this is quite interesting, I think this might be close to a first in the city's utility bureaus will use machine learning algorithms to connect economically disadvantaged Portlanders to financial assistance for their water and sewer bills. These tools can rapidly evaluate variables like financial need, median income in your neighborhood, and other demographic variables. Thanks to this initiative, Portlanders will see benefits like the elimination of burdensome applications and a shift from flat rate discounts to a percentage-based model, which will serve a wider group of households. The cost of this program shall not exceed $350,000, was relatively affordable. The funds for the Smart Discount Program are available through current dollars in the Financial Assistance Program's budget, and this will not impact rates. The initial phase of this program will run from April 1st, 2024 to April 30th, 2026. And if the Smart Discount Program yields the positive results we expect, bureaus may choose to continue this program. And of course, the bureaus may end the program if it falls short of our expectations. Here today to tell us more about this ordinance, we have Quisha Light, who is our director of the Water Bureau's Customer Service Group, and we have Farshad Aldadi, BES's Business Service Group Manager. And joining us online today, I believe we have Brian Glenn, who is the CEO of Service, and we have Shane Kavanaugh, not the one you're probably thinking about, with the Government Finance Officers Association. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it over to our team from the utility bureaus.
Thank you. Is it on? Okay, there we go. Good morning, Mayor and Commissioners. For the record, I am Quisha Light, and I'm the Customer Service Director for the Water Bureau. And I am here today with my colleague, Farshad Aladadi from BES. And as noted, we do have Brian Glenn from Service online and Shane Kavanaugh from the Government Finance Officers Association. And as the Commissioner noted, we're here to provide information on an initiative that will completely reshape how we address affordability and equity challenges for Portlanders that are facing financial hardships and struggling to pay their sewer, stormwater, and water bill. After nearly 2 years of collaborative work with Service, the University of Chicago, and the Government Finance Officers Association, we developed the Smart Discount Program, and we believe that it transcends mere concept. We believe that it's an opportunity for us to offer vital support for those experiencing financial challenges. Next slide, please. So before we jump in to really get into more detail around the Smart Discount Program, I think it's important that you really understand some of the problems we've faced since the inception of the program. Our existing program has faced challenges that have hindered its effectiveness over time. And, the program's almost been in existence almost 30 years. So in many ways, it's time for a refresh and a reboot of the program. With less than 10% of our residential single-family customer base enrolled, we acknowledge the need for a new approach that eliminates the language barriers, the lack of awareness, eligibility restrictions, and just the time tax barrier that our process can create for Portlanders. And the pandemic-induced moratorium on water shutoffs unintentionally led to a staggering increase in customer debt. And at one point, it reached close to $24 million by the summer of 2022. Further, our current payment plans have fallen short of our expectations, resulting in customers with multiple failed payment arrangements, large past-due balances, and the ever-looming risk of water shutoff. Additionally, our current flat rate discount is unfair as it disproportionately benefits smaller households over larger families with higher water usage and consequently higher bills, even after we apply the discount. Finally, the lack of sufficient data insights further hampers our ability to understand customer needs and design effective programs to meet the needs of our different customer segments. Next slide, please. And I just want to put a finer point on this by giving you an idea of some of the customers that are facing challenges with our program. We have Nikolai, who's a retiree on a fixed income. He lost his discount due to his mistrust of government first. It was a very powerful mistrust of government. And then he had paperwork challenges because initially when he applied for the program, his daughter assisted him. She was no longer living in town, and when it was time for renewal, he didn't want to and could not get the assistance he needed with the paperwork and didn't want to allow us to assist him. And because of his mistrust, he didn't provide the necessary paperwork to renew his discount, and this led to a threefold increase in his water bill from $70 per quarter to $210 per quarter. Nikolai is still off, and his water is still off. He has been without water for several weeks. This is something that an automatic discount could have really dealt with. Sarah is a single mother. She was denied a discount because she makes $95 too much for our program. Yet she is struggling to stay afloat despite family and community support from various resources. Then we have families like the Watson family. They were once benefiting from our program, but they lost eligibility at renewal because they experienced a slight increase in their income and now they made too much. And that plunged them back into financial struggles. So they got an increase that was helping them stay current and do the right thing. And then we said, that's too much money. And now their bill increased from $220 per quarter to $432 per quarter. Again, a family that's struggling. And these are just a few of the representations of the challenges that our customers experience with our current program. Next slide, please. So as we examined the problems we wanted to solve with the current program, we identified three key things we needed for a solution. It had to be innovative. We needed to help more people than we do now, and we needed to spend our financial assistance dollars more wisely. So that's why we have the Smart Discount Program. We believe it's a revolutionary, data-driven approach to affordability. This program aims to streamline efforts and allocate financial assistance more effectively by providing automatic percentage-based discounts. Customers do not have to apply for the discount, thereby removing numerous barriers to affordability and making it easier for customers to stay current on their bill and avoid disconnection. The Smart Discount will help more people and provide them assistance based on their need and bill amount and not the typical bill, which is what we use now. So it's more equitable. Customers will receive assistance proportional to their need rather than the one-size-fits-all flat discount. And crucially, this program does all this without impacting rates for other customers, before even the customers participating in this program, ensuring responsible financial management without additional costs. We will spend money or the dollars that we have wisely and avoid that rate impact. And the Smart Discount Program will cater to the diverse needs of our community, offering them the personalized approach that eliminates barriers and delivers timely, equitable, and efficient bill discounts. And it will help ensure timely bill payments and good payment behavior, which is something we're still trying to get back to coming out of the pandemic. All of these things will be with the goal of helping our customers and our bureaus get back on track. Next slide, please. So the return and the benefits of the Smart Discount Program, we believe, are far-reaching. It improves equity access. It streamlines allocation processes because we don't have to have my 3-person team trying to process a lot of applications, which is really challenging. It ensures the efficient fund utilization. It reduces administrative burdens, enhances data-driven decision-making. And I really want to put a fine point on this one because a lot of people assume we have all this data that we're using, and we don't. We have not collected a lot of data over the years. We've started to collect more data, but we were not initially, or we collected it in a way that was not easy for us to access and actually do something with it. And now we're going to be able to do that. And then to enhance accountability, the program will undergo rigorous evaluation and monitoring for the first 2 years with a commitment to pause or shut it down if it does not meet our expectations. And next slide, please. I just want to quickly note that one of the main reasons why the power of data and automation is important here is not just because we want to spend the money more wisely, we want to help more people. We want to expand our program so that we're offering more assistance to other parts of our customer segment. We're not talking to our small businesses right now and seeing where they have need, and we know that there's need. We're not necessarily meeting the needs of our market rate multifamily customers right now, and we know that they have need. We started the RAMP program last year, which was great because then that offers some multifamily assistance to nonprofits. But we need to be meeting the needs of those that are paying market rate rent and who need assistance. Or we need to be meeting the need of those who are in multifamily units who have landlords that are not addressing their needs, and therefore they have leaks and other things, and their bills are increasing. And we believe that this program will create capacity for our team to actually start to focus on those other needs. Next slide, please. So with your approval, we aim to begin initial customer communications about the program this spring. And then in the fall, we would conduct a detailed randomized trial. And this will allow us to test and validate the model and ensure it's performing as we expect it to. And then once that validation is complete, we will begin running the full Smart Discount Program in 2025. Next slide. So our ask is simple. Approve the transition of customers to the Smart Discount Program by temporarily pausing enrollment in the current financial assistance program. Additionally, we seek approval to offer bill discounts ranging from 5% to 80% to eligible customers, and to execute a contract-specific special procurement with Service up to $350,000 for program support. So in embracing this Smart Discount Program, we will pave the way for our community, pave a way for the community where financial assistance is not just a concept, but a tangible reality for those who need it most. So we ask that you allow us to use economics and the power of data to build a future where utility services are more affordable for all. I thank you for your attention and consideration, and I'll turn it over to Farshad.
Thank you. Council, for the record, my name is Farshad Aladadi, Business Services Group Manager at BES, and I really don't have much more to add to that fantastic description of the program. I do want to emphasize that Portland Water Bureau is the billing agent for both BES and water customers, and I think this is a great example of how we're using innovation and data to not only be more effective in our program delivery, but also, as Quisha mentioned, to free up resources to be more effective in other areas. We have a lot of manual processes, and if we move to this more data-driven process, we feel we can be more effective and efficient with the resources we do have, which drives better value for our customers overall.
Any questions? That's all we have.
Commissioner Ryan?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you. That was a great report, and thanks for being an adaptive leader. It's really going to be a big lift, and I appreciate that. So I also want to thank you. And I keep doing that. Am I the only one that does that?
What'd you do?
The keyboard goes into this.
You lost your keyboard.
Yeah.
Who cares
Anyway,
if the
little
computer
human
goes,
moment
you
up
just
here.
don't lose your
I'm still on the
We'll get
screen.
you one of those Apple virtual keyboards.
Did it go all the way to the floor? Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to be
Oh, you're fine.
having a little special needs moment here. back to giving you compliments that are due. So thank you for bringing this forward. And it's a change that obviously is necessary. I mean, you want to find slopes, not cliffs. And in government, we have too many cliffs. And what you did is you looked at that adaptive solution and is providing that. And I also wanted to ask this question. It might not even be related, but last time I think I saw you here, it was about the smart meter reader.
Yes.
And I thought that was amazing because way back when I was one of those people who had a leak and got the big water bill, and it was not a fun moment to get that bill. And so is there a crosswalk between that innovation and this? And I just am geeking out here, being curious about that.
I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it, but I will say the beauty for both of those is the data, right? I mean, with that extra data, we're able to do more. With the smart meters, it's real-time data. It's happening, and you're getting it as a customer. We're receiving it. And I think the alignment here is, again, with a smart discount, you have real-time information driving the results that we need. And it's, while the smart discount may not be happening in this day-to-day basis, it's just the fact that we're using data more frequently. We're actually examining the system and saying, okay, what do we need for this customer? And the smart meters are essentially doing the same thing every day. What's happening with this customer? What's going on? We get a personalized view of you, and that's what this smart discount program is allowing us to do, to get that personalized view of a customer.
So maybe it's just another improving practice that you're
It is.
implementing, and I appreciate that. And as someone that's led teams through the manual to the magic of data, it also takes a lot of time and effort and change. So good luck as you manage that change.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Commissioner Rubio.
I just want to appreciate too the approach and I don't know if this is on. Oh, there you go. Just appreciate the approach, and it's very exciting. It's very hopeful. I do have a question about the examples you use. They're very compelling. So how do you then enroll someone? What's the mechanism then to enroll someone or catch that person, like I think Nikolai, the example that you gave?
Yeah. So with the smart discount program, Nikolai's circumstances would have probably just been picked up by the algorithm because he meets our program. And so all of his demographic information would have just been picked up automatically. We wouldn't have gone through this exchange of trying to get him to apply. He would have just seen the discount show up on his bill, and life would have just continued.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't have to enroll.
You don't have to enroll or apply for the program here.
And same with coming off the program if needed.
Yes, and if you need to come off, and the beauty is we're going to be running the program and examining the data every 6 months. Right now, we do that every 2 years, where we get paper applications back to us that we have to go through. But here, we're able to re-examine situations every 6 months.
Thank you.
Great. Commissioner Maps.
Sure, and I don't really have a question, but I do want to take a moment just to emphasize what an exciting program this is. I want to thank Quisha and all our partners for getting us here today. Commissioner Ryan asked a compelling question. Is there a connection between our wireless water meter readers, which we will have in place someday, and this program that we have? And I think there is. One of the things that we see in our utility space is a couple of bureaus which are very much leaning into modernization, which is quite interesting because, frankly, a lot of my pipes are 100 years old or whatnot. But the tools that we use to manage these services are becoming increasingly sophisticated. Right now, we literally send someone out to go and read your water meter out, probably in the sidewalk around your home. In the very near future, we'll be able to do all of that wirelessly, which is great. That's going to be an efficiency savings, and it's also going to, frankly, help us with staffing costs, I think. Here's a great utility assistance program. There's no application, and indeed, right now, all we have is a flat rate discount. Instead, we'll actually match the discount that you receive to your personal circumstances. It's just very innovative and creative work. It's where I think, I hope the entire city will be in a couple of decades, and I hope it's a real model for other bureaus as you think about how to deliver services more efficiently and at a cheaper cost.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Rubio.
Oh, no, I had
Did I?
forgotten to
Oh,
take
I
my
had the
hand
wrong.
up.
Okay, good. Any further questions? Public testimony? Oh, wait, Keelan's over there now. Keelan, any public testimony?
No one signed up.
All right, very good. This is a first reading of a non-emergency ordinance. It moves to second reading. Colleagues, we now have the folks here for item number 112, our first time certain item.
Great.
2023 Steve Lowenstein Trust Award.
Colleagues, I want to thank Commissioner Maps and the trustees for an exceptional Steve Lowenstein Trust awardee this year. Dr. Renee Mitchell, we are so grateful to you for your willingness to share your background and your experiences with the youth of our city to inspire their lives, to channel their creativity, and to show them the path ahead. We're honored to be the recipient of your commitment to advance human rights and social justice in our community time and time again. I look forward to witnessing your continued impact on our community and the fantastic things our youth accomplish while at the Soul Restoration Center and beyond. Thank you. This presentation is something we're all looking forward to. Commissioner Maps, did you have opening comments?
I did, Mr. Mayor. Colleagues, I just want to say I have the great honor of introducing the presentation of this year's Steve Lowenstein Trust Award. Now, this award was named after a distinguished city staffer, Steve Lowenstein, who served as former City Commissioner Mike Limburg's chief of staff. Now, in addition to his work in City Hall, Steve was responsible for the founding of the Oregon Law Center and the Oregon Law Foundation. Sadly, in 1990, Steve was stricken with cancer and passed away at the age of 52. While we still mourn Steve's death, thanks to an endowment established in his will more than 30 years after his passing, we still celebrate Steve's life and honor his legacy. Now, the endowment established in Steve's will states that this award shall go to, quote, a person who demonstrated the greatest contribution to assisting the poor and underprivileged in Portland, Oregon. Today, this council gathers to honor the Portlander who embodies those values best. I'm delighted to announce that the winner of this year's Lowenstein Trust Award is Dr. Renee Mitchell. Let's give a round of applause to Dr. Mitchell. Now, Dr. Mitchell is well known in the community. She's played many roles in our community over the years. She's been a passionate champion for Portland's Black community. Dr. Mitchell is known for her commitment to healing, growth, and hope, and embodies the spirit of Portland. And of course, today we're joined by two distinguished guests who will help present this year's award. We have former Lowenstein Trust Chair, Michelle Harper, and we also have current Chair, Joe Hertzberg. And with that, I want to welcome Michelle and Joe, and I'll give the presentation over to you now.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I want to say a few words about Steve and a few words about the award. There's an old joke about the lawyer who dies at 50 and goes to heaven and wonders how he could possibly have died so young. And St. Peter looks at the record and said, "We checked your billable hours and thought you were 90." And Steve's record is sort of like that. He died at 52, but it's hard to believe that he packed in working in the earliest days of the Peace Corps. He helped start a law school in Ethiopia. He worked with the Ford Foundation in Chile. As Commissioner Mapp said, he founded the Oregon Law Center and the Oregon Law Foundation, and he wrote the definitive history of Jews in Oregon. He spent 6 years at City Hall working as Mike Limburg's chief of staff, and he was trusted as a straight shooter, a consensus builder, and a passionate advocate for social justice. All these years after his death, I think his influence is still felt. I believe that all of you have people in senior positions in your bureaus that considered Steve to be a mentor and a role model. So when Steve died, he endowed a trust fund to annually recognize, in his words, that person who demonstrated the greatest contribution to assisting the poor and underprivileged in the city of Portland. If you could put the next slide on. We are presenting this award for the 32nd time, every one of them at a meeting of the Portland City Council. Renee joins a distinguished group of local heroes. I'm sure that you recognize many of these names, but you might not have when they first won the award. We've tried very hard to find people who are working because of their commitment, not because of any public recognition that they can get. Selecting the honoree is the most humbling and rewarding thing I do all year. A couple of my fellow trustees are here today: Art Alexander, Jamal Folsom, Margie Harris, Monica Garacki. Also, our 2004 honoree, Ms. Mariah Taylor, is here. So Michelle, who is our board chair for years until she somehow convinced me to take the torch from her, will introduce today's honoree, Dr. Renee Mitchell. Michelle.
Good morning, Mayor and City Council. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to have this opportunity to celebrate with you this morning our honoree, Dr. Renee Mitchell. We're very proud to be able to present this award because it always shows the best of what is going on in our city. In spite of the challenges that you have in trying to manage our city, this is the constant, the thing that remains constant, that gives hope and inspires. Dr. Renee Mitchell has had a measurable impact. She is a person who instills hope, who brings joy. She's very courageous, and she brings healing and restoration in our community. She survived a lifetime of trauma. She channeled that pain and those experiences for the greater good, identifying opportunities and programs to heal and to help others. She has a deep commitment to the African American community and worked for decades. She's had an award-winning career as a journalist, an author, a poet, a playwright, and an educator, among many of her accomplishments. I was very fortunate to meet Dr. Renee when I was in City Hall, and she was working for the Oregonian. At that time, the City Hall had a press room for all of the media, and she was always very conscientious in her reporting, the accuracy of what was going on, her integrity, and insisting on being an advocate of how our community was presented in the media. The Soul Restoration Center that recently she has been able to just be the catalyst for that restoration is designed to help low-income youth to channel their creativities, to find their gifts, to find their voice and their purpose. As a result, we have this beautiful, vibrant Soul Restoration Center. Another memory is that when I was a child, when that was the Albina Arts Center, that was where I learned to take African dance. So this is such a wonderful gift for our community to have this center come back, this treasure that is set vacant for so long, to come back to where we can gather and experience and to enjoy one another and to celebrate all that there is for us to celebrate. The Soul Restoration Center helps to heal traumas in the Portland's racism and regentrification, the gentrification experience from our community. It provides a safe gathering place for Black youth and adults, a place for us to experience family and a place for us to experience joy. The I Am More program that she developed, which is an extraordinary and award-winning program that helps to empower and to teach young people resiliency. It shines a light specifically on the elders in our community and giving them their flowers. They have a rich history. A lot of it doesn't get told all the time. And so this center is that magnet, that place for us to be able to share these gifts with one another. As a survivor of domestic violence and childhood bullying and other trauma, she convened community healing sessions. She worked with domestic survivors to let them know their value and their worth and what they have a path to move forward. There's so many things that that she's done that it's almost hard to believe that one person has these many gifts, and that she is such a person that when you walk into the room, there's an energy that touches everybody. She meets people where they are, and she pours into them, and they walk out the door changed completely. So the Soul Restoration Center is a wonderful thing for our community. The I Am More program is also an amazing thing for our community. Just a couple other things about her education. She's a Doctor of Education, University of Oregon. She got her Master's in Business Administration from George Fox University. She got her Bachelor of Science from HBCU, Florida A&M University. The work that she did at Roosevelt High School with those students was absolutely incredible. She created a youth poet laureate program there that was a major turning point for students being able to find their voice at Roosevelt. They have given her the nickname of Freedom Fighter there at Roosevelt High School, among many, many titles that she carries. She's a visionary, she's an advocate. She's a curriculum designer. She's not a person that you can say no to. You know, she's a person that if she sees something that needs to be done and nobody can do it, she's the first one to step up and do it. And she brings the rest of us along with her. The center that she has brought back to us through the tools of trauma-informed workshops, through listening circles, through mindful practices of self-care, storytelling and performances, they are the pathway. She's given us the pathway to what restoration looks like. She has taught our youth to discover their creativity, to be inspired, to research and go on a journey. She's taught them critical thinking. They learn their true value by her as a role model. They learn that they have a place and a purpose in this world with intention. She's been called a creative revolutionary, a visionary catalyst for change. I've coined the phrase that she is the power of one multiplied. Dr. S. Renee Mitchell, we honor you for your loving and extraordinary commitment to the community. It is one of our city's greatest challenges, and I know this journey has not been an easy one for you, and there's been some bumps along the road. But I know that you probably have had some quiet moments and not always time to reflect on what your journey looks like. But I just want to leave you with this one little thing that my grandmother told me and gave me when I was young. She taught me this song that I have continued to give me strength, and I'm giving it back to you. I don't feel no waste time, come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. I give you Dr. S. Renee Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for allowing us to be here for a ceremony. And thank you for the board, and Michelle, and all of the folks who came to support. I did have a couple things that Michelle had shared so much, I might just say less. But I am deeply honored to receive this award in the model of someone who had such selfless public service. We had never met. I moved to Oregon when I was 14, and we actually lived in Newburgh. And I left the state when I was 17 to attend college. I returned to Oregon in the when I was in my mid 30s. I was recruited to work for the Oregonian. Um, and I imagine if I had met Mr. Lowenstein, he would probably have reminded me of someone I did know very well and admired deeply, and that was the beloved late City Commissioner Nick Fish. And just weeks before Nick died, he had mustered up the strength to hand me the award he had nominated me for, the 2019 Spirit of Portland Award. And what I appreciated most about my friendship with Nick, Commissioner Fish, was that I felt like he saw me. Not just at the public events we showed up at, but it felt like he knew my heart, and he was a friend to me, and I deeply admired him. And so what drives me even to this day is to be the kind of person that I wish I had known when I was growing up, when I needed someone to see me. And what many people don't know is several times in my life growing up, I had contemplated suicide. I didn't see myself as having value. And at home, I was bullied by my older brothers and ignored by my sisters. And at school, I was often the only Black child in my classroom. And it was not easy. When I attended Newburgh High School, at one point, I was the only Black student in the entire school. I was regularly advised by certain teachers that I was not college material. And I never felt like I belonged anywhere because I felt so alone for much of my life. And I considered books as my closest companion, which led to me writing my own stories and starting even in elementary school. But at some point, even my love for writing wasn't enough to soothe my internalized voicelessness and heartbreak from bullying, from abuse and loneliness, and later from domestic violence and sexual assault. So when I walked away from this position as a metro columnist at the Oregonian, a lot of people didn't really understand that. But I needed to figure out who I was. So I started painting, and I did theater, and I started organizing community healing circles, and even founded Portland's first drop-in resource center for Black women who were experiencing domestic violence. And under former Mayor Charlie Hales, I founded the Portland Youth Poet Laureate Program, took youth poets to the East Coast to perform their poetry on a national stage, and eventually I was recruited to teach journalism at Roosevelt High School. I just wanted to support traumatized youth to be able to tell their stories and know that they were heard and they were cared about. And while my time there at the Roosevelt is when I started I Am More. More as an acronym, making ourselves resilient every day. And training young people often for the first time to speak their truth publicly and without shame, even if they are shy, even if they previously had felt like they weren't worthy for that kind of attention. And that led also to getting my doctorate at the University of Oregon. But there were still struggles, even during that time of doing this public work. And in the early days of the pandemic, when I started again to implode internally, I fell into another bout of depression. And one day I was standing in front of the hardware store on MLK, and an older Black gentleman, when he came toward me to walk past, he nodded at me. And what I noticed is after he walked past, my mood dramatically changed because I felt like he had seen me. I didn't know him, but he reminded me that I mattered and that even if I didn't know his name, this small gesture of seeing someone makes a difference and it honors someone's existence. That encounter led to a film you can find on YouTube titled Reviving the Nod, which is a love letter to Black Portland to remind us to always acknowledge and see each other. That led to the spreading the Black Joy virus, which is starting to become a national campaign, to understand that we need to find joy within ourselves and then share it with others. That led to partnering with the Multnomah County to hold reviving Black Joy community events in the parks for the last couple of summers. And also just being able to participate in the Washington, D.C. Aspen Institute as a weaver, purposely showing people how to invest their time and energy into the well-being of community and other people. So I'm grateful for that you honoring me today, and I wanted to close with noting the fuel that has led to the unfolding of my life, and that was the unrelenting trauma. But once I was able to tap into the value of helping prevent others from getting lost in their own heartbreak, my life journey pointed me toward my purpose, toward a series of constantly unfolding serendipities, and an undying joy and love of the work that I do serving my community. Even the password that I am reflects our mission: valued, seen, heard. And so I can imagine that the community serving legacy of Mr. Lowenstein, that he likely experienced a similar consciousness. And I am honored to receive this award in his name. So I leave you with this brief poem that sums up what I've learned from surviving a lifetime of physical and emotional trauma and being undermined and misunderstood by so many people. It was written by a woman named Donna Markova during a time when she thought she was dying from a serious illness. She wanted to find meaning before she passed away. And so decades later, Donna is still very much alive, and she's a best-selling author. She wrote this short poem that serves as a guiding tool for me on my own journey of helping others, particularly Black youth, see that they are more, see that they are also resilient, and that they are worthy of love. Donna wrote this: I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching on fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open me up, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance, to live so that which came to me as seed goes out to the next as blossom, and that which came to me as blossom goes on as fruit. Thank you, City Council members and Mayor. Thank you to the board of the Steve Lowenstein Trust. Thank you for all of those who thought enough about me to nominate me for this award. And thank you to those in the community who hear me, who see me, who have taken the time to hear my truth today. I'm deeply honored and I'm grateful for receiving this award. Thank you.
Thank you. And the award does come with a very nice plaque, handmade plaque, and a check for $10,000.
All right. Don't run away just yet. I think my colleagues would like to make a couple of comments as well. Commissioner Rubio, I see your hand's raised.
Thank you. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to lift up and thank you so much for your unrelenting creativity and for uplifting our community. I'm so honored to be able to share with you today and celebrate and lift up this award with you. But also I want to tell you a little bit about what you personally have meant to me. I've had the honor of following you and knowing you, Dr. Mitchell, for many years. And a long time ago for me and other young Black and brown women starting their careers in Portland, you were and still are a role model for us. You were a mentor and also the professional and civic and creative leader that we all aspire to be. And so I want to lift up what you said today about being seen, because you've also seen a lot of us too, and who've been like you, followed in your footsteps of being the first or the only in the room or in an organization. And that has meant so much to me. And so to me, you are one of Portland's superheroes. And so I really want to just also appreciate how you use your talents and service for good and for justice and for healing. And when it comes to doing what needs to be done, you don't take no for an answer. You find a way through it. And your work to uplift all of our communities and help them take that space that they deserve and share their true voices truly makes you deserving of this award. And I'm just so appreciative for what you have done for our city and our community. So I just want to congratulate you and thank you for continuing to inspire me personally to be a better person and a better leader. And thank you for all that you do for the city and also for all of our youth in our community. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Gonzalez.
I want to thank you, Commissioner Mavs, for bringing this item forward and for today's presentation. I would echo what many have said today about Dr. Mitchell, or have said over the years. As we heard in the testimony today, you have had and continue to have a huge impact on the Portland community. As a journalist, author, poet, playwright, an educator, just to name a few. That's a long list right there, ma'am. You have used your experience to inspire so many around you. And recipient of the annual Lowenstein Trust Award is someone who selflessly dedicates themselves to a particular cause that benefits others. And Dr. Mitchell, you have done just that. I would like to take the time to thank you for all the work you have done, known, and unknown, because those who really serve, we don't always see what they've done for the benefit of the greater Portland community. With that, I will pass it on to my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gonzalez. Commissioner Ryan.
Yes, first of all, this was a beautiful presentation. It allowed all of us to take a breath and be present. And it's great to see so many Portlanders that I've known for a while. They're in the audience because they're here to represent and support you. Renee, I'll just use 3 words. Your presence. I remember I felt it when I was staffing Dr. Bernstein at PSU, and it was the Vanport Classic, which feels like it was not that long ago, but it probably was a long time ago. And you were definitely a catalyst to bring that very special event to the city of Portland. Your passion, and now I get it more, it's from your lived experience. So how can it not be your passion? So your heart and your head are connected. And your purpose, I love that you focused on youth and really seeing the youth and helping guide them as a mentor and taking your pain and turning it into healing and being there for the children and the youth. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. Commissioner Mavs.
Yeah, I've already delivered most of my comments at the beginning, but I did want to take a moment today and again thank Dr. Mitchell for her service to our community, and I want to congratulate you on receiving this very important award, which I think really embodies Portland at its best. And I also want to, especially because I think this is the last time we will come together for this particular award in this particular way, I want to thank the trustees at the Lowenstein Trust Award for keeping this project going. You know, next year when council issues this award or is here to celebrate the awardees, it'll be a very different world. We'll have a much bigger council. I don't even know what council chambers will look like. You know, you folks have been at this work for literally a generation, and I want to tell you, this particular moment and this particular item is one of my favorites on council. We do lots of important work dealing with pipes and roads and whatnot, but actually coming together as a community to celebrate the Portlanders that make Portland such a special place is one of the things that lifts me up, and I know that is true for each and every person on this council. So thank you for all the work you've done over the decades, and please keep it going for the next 34 years too. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll turn it back to you.
All right, good. Well, thank you once again for an outstanding presentation. And Dr. Mitchell, thank you for everything you do. And I think we all learned a little bit about what drives you today. thank you for your courage in sharing. I think
Thank
it
you
sets
for
a good
having me.
example and a model for all of us. We all have histories, we all have pasts, and when somebody bravely talks about how the past shapes the present and the future, I think that's helpful for all of us. So thank you. Great awardee. I was so glad I didn't have to follow you singing. You've got pipes, you're good. And it really brought a lot of joy to this room, a lot of meaning. Thank you. And as always, we appreciate the trust, and we certainly appreciate the memory as well of Steve Lowenstein, a great public servant. And of course, our city has many, many public servants that don't get recognized, and people don't necessarily think about them, or Dr. Mitchell, in your words, see them. But their good works are throughout the community. And you represent the best of us, and we're so glad to have you here today and have the trust here as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
This report will go on file. Thank you.
Mayor, could we get a quick photo before you?
Sure, yeah, it's your reputation. Should we just do it?
It's out, or it's a container. Right, right.
Item number 114, please, your report.
Accept the 2024 LGBTQIA2S+ program report and strategic plan.
All right, colleagues, as many of you know, the Office of Equity and Human Rights is tasked with providing leadership and developing policies, practices, and procedures to build equitable foundations for institutionally oppressed communities in Portland. In 2021, with the backing of employee, community, and council support, the office expanded its focus to explicitly include lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, and two-spirit issues and hired its first LGBTQIA2S plus policy analyst. The creation of the program has been an important first step in formalizing the work of promoting equity and reducing disparities for the LGBTQIA2S plus community within our city government. The report we've received today from the program team articulates the program's successes, priorities, and vision for the future of this work at the city. I want to particularly thank Commissioner Ryan, who is co-introducing this item, for his work leading the Office of Equity and Human Rights over the last year and guiding the work being reported on today. So with that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you so much, Mayor, for co-introducing this item with me. And soon you will hear from the people who've really driven this work. As an out member of the LGBTQIA2S plus community on this council and an out member of this community for multiple decades, it's such an honor to oversee the work of the Office of Equity and Human Rights, and specifically see the growth of the LGBTQIA2S plus program over the past year. In the past year, I'm proud to say that the program has doubled its staffing capacity with the hiring of a one-year limited term policy analysis, Aubrey Chen. Welcome, Aubrey. And the continue and guidance and of this important work provides vital guidance, education, and assistance to city bureaus. This expansion in capacity has allowed for the launch of virtual and live training opportunities for staff, new policy development, and additional programmatic support, and much more. The expansion of this program and the acceptance of this inaugural strategic plan are important steps to promoting truly intersectional equity within city government, within Portland, and throughout the region. I want to ensure that the city's commitment to the LGBTQIA2S plus equity is permanent and that the program has the resources to meet and exceed the goals outlined in this strategic plan. I want to take a moment to acknowledge, you helped me with these remarks, and of course you left your name out. I want to acknowledge the leader, Lex, sitting there in front of me, who will be a part of this presentation. I just had to get your name in there. And of course, I want to hand this over now to you, Jeff Selby, the Interim Director of the Office of Equity and Human Rights, to begin this important presentation. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor Wheeler, Commissioner Ryan, Commissioner Mapps, Commissioner Rubio, and Commissioner Gonzalez. For the record, my name is Jeff Selby. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the Interim Director of the Office of Equity and Human Rights. Before we begin, we ask that you hold your questions until the end of the presentation. We'd like to make sure that we are able to provide all the content that Lex and Aubrey have provided today. So today we do submit the Office of Equity's LGBTQIA2S plus program strategic plan, which provides a blueprint for developing a city culture that not only welcomes and supports, but also celebrates city staff and Portlanders who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and or gender expansive, queer and or questioning, intersex, asexual, and two-spirit. Since its establishment in 2021, the under-resourced Scrappy program has provided foundational educational opportunities and policy guidance to city staff and elected officials. Around the nation, equity and inclusion work is under attack, and queer communities face rising incidents of hate crimes, targeted legislation based on bigotry, and healthcare and housing barriers, to name a few. Continued investment in this work in Portland will allow the city to better serve systemically excluded and institutionally oppressed Portlanders. So thank you, Mayor Wheeler and Commissioner Ryan, for co-introducing this plan to council. And thank you to Lex Yakushevsky and Aubrey Chen for your tireless work. Thanks to the city's Queer Alliance Employee Resource Group, and thanks to the queer community for your support and patience. And now I'd like to hand it over to Lex Yakushevsky.
Great. Good morning, City Council. For the record, my name is Lex Yakushevsky. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm our city's LGBTQIA2S+ Senior Policy Analyst in the Office of Equity and Human Rights. I'm thrilled to be here today with my colleague, Aubrey Chen, to share a high-level overview of our 2024 program and our inaugural strategic plan. We also want to just say we appreciate the time all of your offices have shared with our team over the last month to do more in-depth dive into what this program means. I know it's a pretty long document, but today our hope is to utilize our time together to ensure we hit all of the highlights of the report. Next slide, please. Thank you to the clerk team. So during this presentation, we'll be sharing information on the program's background and the focus of our work. We'll then share what we know about our local community demographics. From there, we'll contextualize the importance of this work right now and share some important information around our political and legal landscape. We'll also be sure to share a few program highlights and important partnerships along the way. Toward the end of the presentation, we're going to be diving into our equity framework and program recommendations to reach these identified goals. The equity framework for us is a vital tool to ensure the program maintains clear direction as we grow and transition into the new form of government. The Office of Equity and Human Rights will be repositioned, so this guiding document will be really important in making sure we continue to meet our goals as a program. Next slide, please. As Jeff Selby and Mayor Wheeler shared, the Office of Equity and Human Rights was created by City Ordinance in 2011 and given a mission to lead the City of Portland's commitment to equity. At the office's inception, there was an acknowledgement that individuals experience multiple forms of oppression. Thus, the office should drive equity with an intersectional framework. As part of the office's strategic planning process in 2018, there were a series of community focus groups that centered historically marginalized community voices. Engagement at that time with the LGBTQ IA2S+ community highlighted feelings of distrust, disengagement, and disappointment. At that time, neither the mission nor strategic vision of the office addressed challenges unique to Portland's LGBTQ IA2S+ community. This strategic planning process was one piece of the groundswell of support that developed over the next few years with community organizations, city employees, and Bureau of Equity and Human Rights staff to build out more capacity for this work. In 2020, a historic investment was made to fund this program, and the first policy analyst position was hired in the summer of 2021. This was a critical first step to ensuring the city's equity work became fully intersectional in nature. That fall, during the budget monitoring process, the program received a one-time infusion of funds to support primarily training goals that the program was tasked with, and also data collection goals. In 2023, as Commissioner Ryan mentioned, the program doubled in size with the addition of a limited-term policy analyst role as well. The takeaway here really is that our program has scaled quite a bit in the last 2.5 years, and we're really looking forward to the continued growth of this work in our new form of government. Next slide, please. Similar to many other programs that live within the Office of Equity and Human Rights, our program strives to provide education and technical support to city staff and elected officials to ensure our community is well served. In addition, the program focuses on removing systemic barriers to increase access to both resources and opportunity for our community. The third focus of this work, equally important, is community facing. We have a huge LGBTQI2S+ population in Portland and in our region. So ensuring that this community feels that their government is not only accessible to them, but also proactively trying to cultivate a relationship and also make this region safer and better for them is really vital to what we see the program's mission to be. Next slide, please.
Great, thank you, Lex. For the record, my name is Aubrey Chen. I use she, her pronouns, and I am an LGBTQIA2S+ policy analyst with the Office of Equity. So first, I would like to contextualize some of the population that we serve. In 2023, our program is proud to collaborate with the Bureau of Human Resources and the Queer Alliance Employee Resource Group to include a supplement on sexual orientation and gender identity in our annual workplace census. As part of that census, we found that 16% of respondents to the workplace census identified as gay, lesbian, bisexual, or pansexual, and 4% of our employee workforce identified as transgender, non-binary, genderqueer, or gender fluid. For context, according to the Williams Institute, approximately 6% of residents in the Portland metropolitan statistical area identify as LGBTQIA2S+. I want to emphasize here that the City of Portland's commitment to LGBTQIA2S+ equity has a direct impact on a large proportion of not only our city staff, but also our broader Portland community. Next slide, please. Next, I would like to provide some context on our national legislative environment. In 2023, over 500 anti-LGBTQ or anti-transgender bills were introduced in state legislatures nationwide. 24 out of 50 states in our nation passed anti-LGBTQ legislation. As a result of this wave of anti-LGBTQ legislation, our community members and community organizations are reporting that more and more community members are relocating from these anti-LGBTQ states and cities to pro-equality cities like the City of Portland. As a result of this relocation, our community partners and community organizations are reporting an increase in service utilization of important vital services for recently relocated LGBTQ community members. As a result, there's an increased focus and increased scrutiny on the City of Portland's ability to provide equitable services to historically marginalized communities like the LGBTQ community. Next slide, please. Next, I want to highlight the Office of Equity Center's collaboration as a key aspect of our work. Some of these internal partnerships are highlighted in the strategic plan on pages 11 through 14, but in this presentation, I would like to specifically highlight our collaboration with the Bureau of Human Resources. The Bureau of Human Resources have served as a key partner for our office. Most recently, we collaborated with them to introduce to Council revisions to the HR Administrative Rule 2.04 on gender identity non-discrimination, which is a huge victory for equality in the city. I also want to highlight some of our internal programmatic victories. Last year, we are proud to have brought citywide virtual LGBTQ cultural competency training. And in 2024, we are excited to bring collaborations with local community partners to train to bring training to key stakeholders and high impact work groups within the city. Next slide, please. Next, I would like to briefly highlight some of our community partners. Our work is not done in isolation, and we partner closely with a number of intergovernmental and nonprofit partners at the regional, statewide, and national level. I would also like to take this opportunity to highlight our program's leadership, and specifically Lex's leadership on the national front. Our program coordinates the National LGBTQIA2S+ Equity Practitioners Work Group, which is a coalition of equity practitioners in cities like Boston, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C., and we serve as a leader in coordinating these local LGBTQ equity efforts. Next slide, please.
When it comes to the city's interaction with the transgender community, a hallmark opportunity that's become increasingly impactful over the years is our Transgender Day of Visibility proclamation. This tradition started in 2019 when 2 community members approached Mayor Wheeler's office with the request to honor Transgender Day of Visibility in the chambers of City Hall. Since then, it's become an annual tradition where our program now is able to collaborate with community organizations and transgender community members to really create space for a policy request, and the goal here is to uplift community needs annually. There have been a host of different organizations that have been involved in Transgender Day of Visibility over the years, but also want to note this also garners a lot of support and interest from our city employees, which I think is no surprise given the city employee demographic data that Aubrey shared a little bit earlier in the presentation. So on the slide, you'll see a quick recap of kind of what these asks and responses have looked like over the years. I think one thing that's really exciting for us here in 2024 is to actually look back at these requests over the years and see how many of them have developed and been responded to by the city. Many of the asks that have come from Transgender Day of Visibility have led to unprecedented investment in transgender equity work at the city. So for example, the first ask going back to 2019 was to weave transgender equity into the city's equity work at large. And as we shared earlier, this ask was met with seed funding in 2020 to establish the LGBTQIA2S+ program in the Office of Equity and Human Rights. In 2021, the ask was for council to engage with transgender educational resources. Again, that ask was met by the fall bump allocation to support our training initiatives, which has gotten us to where we are today with all city employees who have access to City Learner, having access to some level of cultural competency training, and a host of new trainings, live trainings that are coming online this calendar year. Last year, the ask was to formalize the strategic vision for this program. And that's part of the reason we're so proud and excited to be here with you today, because we're making good on that request through our presentation and the report's acceptance today. It's just really important to provide and to give the Transgender Day of Visibility proclamation and the history of Transgender Day of Visibility at the city space in our strategic plan, because it really acknowledges the community's steadfast support for the growth of this work in City Hall or at the city at large. Next slide, please.
Great, thank you, Lex. We are excited to be able to present some of our key victories over the last 2.5 years, but we also want to present a framework of how we shape our programmatic equity work moving forward. There are 4 key pillars to the LGBTQ equity program and how we structure our priorities and future priorities. These pillars are city policy, with the goal of developing robust city policy to help all of our city bureaus promote LGBTQIA2S+ representation, equity, and justice. Workforce and economic development, with the goal of fostering an economic ecosystem conducive to LGBTQIA2S+ community participation. Community engagement, cultivating strong, mutually beneficial relationships with our community, and then performance management and data, ensuring that we track and record progress and collect data to support the ongoing work that our city does to promote LGBTQIA2S+ equity. Next slide, please. An overview of our current active priorities across these 4 pillars can be found in the strategic plan on pages 24 to 26. I would specifically like to take this moment to highlight some of our current active priorities. As I mentioned previously, we are very proud to have collaborated to bring policy change to the HRAR 2.0 for gender identity and non-discrimination earlier this year. Moving forward, one of our current priorities is to continue collaborating across all of our city equity practitioners to ensure that our program weaves LGBTQ equity into all bureau-specific equity plans and the general work plans. Next slide, please. Moving forward, we are excited that the expansion and capacity to our program has allowed us to broaden our reach. Several of our long-term goals we'd like to highlight are in the realms of community engagement and performance management and data. One of the things that our program has been requested by community has been for us to continue to provide technical and financial support for community-led efforts, and to also continue the work of providing resource navigation to ensure that city services are navigable and accessible to LGBTQIA2S+ community members. On the performance management and data front, one of our key priorities is supporting the safe collection of demographic data within bureaus to track how our city is serving our LGBTQ population, and we will continue partnering with our statewide and national bureaus to collect data to ensure that we have accurate representation and continue to serve LGBTQIA2S+ Portlanders. Next slide, please.
With the past resourcing that our program has received, and particularly the one-time funds our program has received, we've been able to craft a strategic plan to guide the city's commitment towards LGBTQIA2S+ equity. In order to achieve the current and long-term objectives that are outlined in this plan that Aubrey just pointed you to, the city will need to appropriately resource this program. In the wake of a national wave of anti-LGBTQ legislation, the city of Portland really has an opportunity here to continue to be at the forefront of LGBTQIA2S+ equity. And we ask for council's continued support as we will be bringing over the next months and year more pro-LGBTQIA2S+ policy and legislation to city council, and we ask for your support in that. Next slide, please. The strategic vision outlined in this report was developed in deep collaboration with many of our internal stakeholders, including our city's Queer Alliance, but also our local LGBTQIA2S+ serving organizations. Our community sees and feels the need for this work's growth, which is why the plan has also been endorsed by organizations such as Oregon Pride in Business, New Avenues for Youth, Q Center, Basic Rights Oregon, Oregon Cascade AIDS Project, our LGBTQIA2S+ regional housing collaborative that includes all the organizations listed on the slide. I'd like to thank council along with everybody else who is part of the swell of advocacy that brought this program to life, many folks who are here in person or tuning in online. And at this time, that kind of concludes our presentation, but at this time I'd like to welcome our invited speakers up to the dais, starting with Seraphy Allen, Planning and Community Development Deputy Director for the City of Redmond. Thank you all.
And where did she learn everything she knows?
Where? So my name is Seraphy Allen. Many of you know me from my past role in Mayor Wheeler's office, and I'm proud to still hold the record as the longest tenured staffer from his office from 2017 to 2022, and I'll get to hold that record for a while.
She's a warrior.
That's right. My advocacy for this work didn't start until after I was serving in the mayor's office, and people would reach out to me because I was open about my identity. Some of the examples would be an employee would say, hey, I'm having problems with someone misgendering me in this bureau. I would have community members that had had a difficult time interacting with police when they'd had some really unfortunate situations that had happened, and there was just clearly a lack of kind of cultural understanding. And so it really lit this fire in me to try and represent both for myself and for our employees and for our greater community to move some of this work forward, because I know that Portland city government really cared about serving our LGBTQ community. So during my time at the City of Portland, I was lucky to receive the support of Mayor Wheeler and many of the commissioners at the time to move forward quite a few different initiatives. One of them, I'll just name two of them, but there was many. One of them was the Transgender Day of Visibility, which actually started from Mickey asking for a coffee with me and said, can we do this at the City of Portland? I said, why not? And then we made that happen. And now, as you heard in the presentation, it's something that's gathered more support and work over the time. And I'll just say, quick memory is my favorite time being in not this council chamber was walking in for the first Transgender Day of Visibility and just seeing so many queer people packed in the council chambers, and just hearing from so many of them that it was their first time accessing city government and how amazing that was. The other was, it did take 4 years, but it got there, was being able to get the support in the budget for the position that Lex now holds, which is the LGBTQ analyst position. And I just want to also thank Interim Director Jeff Selby for his continued support and work in putting greater investment over the last couple of years as the city has had the resources to do so. You can tell I'm passionate about this work because I left from a city council meeting at 9 p.m. last night from the Seattle region and drove all the way down here so I could be here this morning to tell you how supportive I am, and I'm confident that the acceptance of this report and strategic plan will formalize and institutionalize the city's commitment to the LGBTQIA+ community. This is an even more important time to be accepting this report and continuing to pour resources into this work. As you heard, Portland and other cities have become a safe harbor for many communities across our nation. And this is a way that we can continue to show that not only are we acceptance and tolerant, but we want to build and integrate you into our community. So in conclusion, I'd like to shamelessly advocate for the prioritization of funds for this upcoming budget cycle to fulfill the goals of the program, including making the limited duration position ongoing. Just a quick side note too, Jane Marie, I'm not sure if she still works in the budget office or not, but she gave me one of my favorite compliments when I was here, and she said, you've got the best batting average of any staffer I know for getting resources in the budget. So I'm hoping you can help me maintain that record as well. So thank you for listening to my testimony today. It's wonderful to see all of you, especially you, Mayor Wheeler. Thank you.
So I can't let you go without embarrassing you at least a little bit, since you drove all this way. Colleague Seraphy was a force of nature on my team. And while she is correct to give credit to many of the people, while they are correct to give credit to many of the people in this room, the fact is that a lot of the items that you saw on the checklist earlier were on that checklist because of Seraphy's leadership. And I will also say it was a difficult time to be a member of my staff. And I watched people get in Seraphy's face. I remember one incident in particular. She got the better end of it, I assure you. But they were always a relentless advocate. By the way, Seraphy was the one who really drilled into me the importance of not misgendering people. And now you know why. Seraphy was just a huge, huge advocate for the LGBTQIA+ community in our city. And they were the one who really instilled in me the importance of pursuing this and understanding that this is as much an important issue of justice as any other issue we discuss in this chamber. And I know that you've gone on to do amazing things in your new capacity. It's great to see you back here thank you for supporting this important initiative and making the trip all the way down. And I know you'll have to make the trip all the way home and then go right back to work. So thank you for your continued leadership. We miss you here very, very much.
Thank you, Mayor. I miss Portland too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Seraphy. Next, we have Debbie Castleton.
Hey, Debbie. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I wrote it down this time. I saw my last presentation. I was like, oh, I should have written it down. Thank you, Commissioners and Mayor. My name is Debbie Castleton, she, her pronouns, and longtime employee, 22 plus years at Environmental Services, doing community outreach for sewer and stormwater projects. I am one of the founding members of the Diverse and Empowered Employees of Portland, DEEP, that oversees the 13 Employee Resource Groups, or ERGs. DEEP was formed in 2007, and I started the LGBTQ and Friends Affinity Group, renamed to Queer Alliance last year, back in 2008 with 10 other employees, and of course, the encouragement and support of Mayor Potter at the time. 16 years later, Queer Alliance is stronger than ever. We now have over 300 members. On average, we have at least 25 members attending monthly ERG meetings. I may use the term queer instead of LGBTQ+ for brevity moving forward. According to the city's 2023 workplace census, of the 4,175 employees who participated, 16% of the city's workforce identify as gay, lesbian, bisexual, or pansexual. 4% of those city employees identify as transgender, non-binary, genderqueer, or gender fluid. Prior to the LGBTQIA2S+ program within the Office of Equity and Human Rights, employees who were volunteers and on their own dime worked with council members, city leaders, and staff to help provide basic support and needs. This included researching, coordinating, and advocating for trans health care, working on all-user restrooms, utilizing pronouns and email signatures, which I want to point out that Mayor Wheeler was one of the first to have their pronouns in their signature. And in more recent years, changing HR admin rules for bereavement leave to include all family members. This is a lot for employees to take on as volunteers. Finally, with the help from Seraphy Allen in Mayor Wheeler's office, the LGBTQIA2S program was born, and Lex was hired. Still too much for one employee to take on queer employees' needs, including training, gender identity, non-discrimination policy changes, strategic planning, etc. Thankfully, Aubrey was hired to work in the program with Lex late last year, and she hit the ground running. These two employees are vital in supporting the needs of queer staff within the city. The program also represents the city of Portland within the queer community and serves as a liaison to queer community members and organizations. This strategic plan provides an outline and plan to continue serving queer employees and Portlanders. Please consider really diving in and taking this, the recommendations for the future. One of the main items I am supporting with this plan is having another permanent position in this program. There is too much need and too much work for just one person. Thank you for listening and for your support.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Kendall Mason. I am the Executive Director of Basic Rights Oregon. We are affectionately known as BRO, and we are the state's largest LGBTQ+ advocacy organization, and we have a long history of making Oregon a safer place for queer and trans Oregonians and their families. In the last nearly 3 decades of activism and social justice organizing, BRO has partnered with organizations, the state, regional, and local governments, and even school districts in making sure that some of our most marginalized folks have the protections they need in order to access equity in schools, the workplace, and sometimes even in our own homes. It is with immense pleasure that we're here today as a longtime partner of the City of Portland to support the LGBTQIA2S+ strategic plan that's been brought forth by the Office of Equity and Human Rights. The need to support this work right now, in even one of the most progressive cities in the country, is imperative. We've no doubt seen the uptick in anti-trans legislation around the country, trying to criminalize our bodies and dehumanize queer and trans people so that the status quo can be maintained. And it's easy to think that these scary policies are only being pushed elsewhere, in other states and in other cities. But we at Bro know that this is not true, and the same efforts to push queer and trans people back into the closet around the country are on our doorstep. This short session, our state is looking at nearly half a dozen anti-trans bills. We recently watched the Office of Equity shutter in Clackamas County, and we heard barely a murmur when the LGBTQ+ Police Advisory Council quietly disbanded in January of 2022. These things are happening as we are experiencing an increase in violence and hostility towards our community. Just this past weekend, our staff has received a series of threatening and harassing voicemails from men calling for violence against our staff merely for being employed at Basic Rights Oregon. And the task of getting these voicemails recorded and logged as public record has also taken many days. As the national climate becomes more hostile towards queer and trans people, so is our very own state and municipality. And supporting the work of the Office of Equity and Human Rights and ensuring there is an LGBTQ+ lens in the work of the city will be critical in order to maintain safety and opportunity for all Portland residents. We urge you to adopt and fund the strategic plan and continue the work to make Portland a safe place for all residents, regardless of our identity.
Thank you. And we're sorry to hear about the harassing calls.
Good morning, councilors and Mr. Mayor. My name is Mickey Gillette. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm the Major Gifts Officer at Basic Rights Oregon. In 2019, I worked with Sarah P. Allen and other community leaders to advocate for the first Transgender Day of Visibility hearing and proclamation here at the city. And I still have the proclamation on my wall. The impetus behind that effort is, I believe, the same one that motivates our presentations here today. Portland is, by any measure, a queer city. When I travel to other places in the US and walk around, I miss not only seeing the pride flags, but also the diversity of gender expression that one finds around every corner here. The numbers, unsurprisingly, support this observation. Portland has the second highest percentage of LGBTQ+ individuals per capita in the US. In seeking recognition from the council through Trans Day of Visibility, we wanted Portland to be not just the city we live in, but one where our government is a place that respects and understands us. This goal has only grown more urgent in the past year as states around the country have passed laws criminalizing access to medically necessary care for trans youth, banning trans youth from participating in school activities, and censoring teachers from even acknowledging that queer families and individuals exist. One outcome of these cruel actions is, as Aubrey mentioned, a queer diaspora is occurring currently, with families and individuals moving from the South and Midwest to places where their rights are protected. For this reason, it's imperative that we do whatever we can to ensure that Portland remains a safe haven. At our last Trans Day of Visibility event, we requested that the council adopt the LGBTQ IA2S+ strategic plan that Lex and Aubrey have created. The plan is a blueprint for weaving LGBTQ+ equity into the fabric of how the city of Portland operates. At Basic Rights Oregon, we've worked to help keep our state a beacon over the past several years, a place where progress towards queer and trans equality can continue despite what's happening nationally. Passing HB 2002 last year, which guaranteed insurance coverage of trans health care and expanded the types of procedures that insurance covers, was a way to do this. We believe that by adopting this plan, the council would similarly make Portland a beacon. Thank you for considering our proposal.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor. Commissioners, it's a pleasure to be here today. For the record, my name is Paul Lumley. I use he, him pronouns. I'm the CEO for Cascade AIDS Project. CAP has been an important part of the city and its LGBTQ community space since 1983, when our organization was formed in response to the emerging AIDS epidemic. As in cities across the country, AIDS devastated the gay community of Portland, in no small part due to the indifference of our government towards LGBTQ people. A lot has changed since then. Our government at all levels has become much more responsive to the needs of queer people. An example of this progress is in the City of Portland's establishment of an LGBTQ policy analyst position in 2021. However, as the LGBTQ strategic plan makes clear, there is still much more room for progress before the city's focus on LGBTQ Portlanders matches the scale and cultural significance of our community. To get to this place, CAP strongly encourages City Council to accept the strategic plan today and commit to implementing its recommendations, including sustaining and growing the city's LGBTQ policy staff. The existence of even one city staff member dedicated to LGBTQ policy over the past 3 years has significantly improved CAP's ability to collaborate with the city on issues impacting queer and transgender Portlanders. For example, LGBTQ policy staff helped CAP organize City Council's proclamation of the LGBTQ Health Awareness Week in 2022, and in the same year supporting CAP's efforts to secure a special appropriation for our LGBTQ safety net clinic, Prism Health. In addition, staff have represented the city at CAP's regular HIV and LGBTQ health policy meetings, as well as meetings of the multi-organization LGBTQ Housing Collaborative. In other words, they've helped city government show up in the spaces where important LGBTQ community conversations are happening. One of the city's 2 LGBTQ policy analyst positions is of limited duration, and with additional funding will go away at the end of this fiscal year. In addition to simply accepting the strategic plan this morning, we urge City Council to convert this position to a permanent one in the 2024-25 budget. Beyond 2024, we hope the City Council will continue carrying out the strategic plan's recommendations to elevate and better resource the work of LGBTQ equity within the City of Portland. This includes, for example, strengthening the LGBT program's authority to uphold citywide standards and coordination across bureaus. Council members, now is not the time for the City of Portland to pull back on its engagement with its LGBTQ residents. As you know, our community is facing an unprecedented wave of attacks on our access to vital health care, among other basic rights. Trans and non-binary community members have been specifically targeted in recent years. For queer people relocating to Portland from unaffirming localities, as well as queer folks who already call our city home, Portland must live up to its promise as an LGBTQ sanctuary city, and that means investing in systems that support our community. Thank you for considering this.
Thanks, Paul.
That concludes our presentation and invited testimony. So Mayor Wheeler, I'll pass it back to you.
Great, thank you. Excellent presentation. Commissioner Matz.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Lex and Aubrey and Jeff for today's presentation. The invited testimony was really amazing too. I want to tell you, this office has been a great partner to my office. Lex and their team helped, for example, pull together a training for my folks over at PBOT in the maintenance space, which is great. Also been real great partners over the years in terms of helping shepherd forward some changes to our HRARs to make them more inclusive and whatnot. So this has been a really wonderful partnership. And I tell you, since the time that we have been together as a council, I feel like there's been this shared goal to move this work forward. Now, Jeff, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about staffing patterns, if I may. One of my concerns as I reviewed this report and got up to speed here is what the future of this office looks like. So Jeff, just so we're all on the same page, can you tell me what the staffing patterns in this office look like? How many staffers do we have? How many permanent? How many temporary? And if we have a temporary staff person, when does that position go away?
So 25% of the team is on one-term funding or one-time funding. So we will lose 4 positions. Those positions that funding will expire at the end of this fiscal year, so July 1st. Those positions are no longer funded. And we have one other position that is ARPA funded through December of this fiscal year.
Well, here, I'm just going to turn to my colleagues. I know a majority of us think this work is important. You said 25% of the total staffing in this program is basically sunsetting in the near future.
Yes, 25% of the Office of Equity.
How about within the LGBTQIA+?
We have 2 staffers doing the internal and external work, and 1 position will be expiring at the end of this fiscal year.
Okay, so 1 permanent position, 1 temporary position. The temporary position sunsets at the end of this fiscal year. And I know we'll get into budget conversations in the coming weeks. I'll just turn directly to my colleagues and say, I think we've done too much. This work is too important, and frankly, we've made too much progress in recent years to see the staffing for the LGBTQIA plus program cut in half. I know that we're operating under some constraints in this budget year, but I sure hope that we can work together to make sure that we don't gut the work that we've worked so hard to move forward in the last 3 or 4 years. And with that, I'll turn the floor back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Gonzalez.
I just want to thank Mayor Wheeler, Commissioner Ryan for bringing this report forward today. Thank you, Director Selby, Lex, and Aubrey for your hard work. Nearly 1 in 10 Portlanders and 1 in 5 city employees belong to the LGBT+ community. Our city has been a beacon for this community across the country as a desirable place where not only one is accepted, but celebrated, and opportunities are around every corner. At this moment, when other jurisdictions would rather play politics with the community rather than recognizing their contribution, I am pleased Portland values are in full display with this report. This report outlines meaningful steps to build further trust between the city and LGBT+ community, ensures resources and training are available to all employees. Very excited to track your progress for future goals outlined in the report. With that, turn it over to my colleagues.
Very good. Thank you. Do we, Commissioner Ryan, did you have a comment?
No, I was just going to move the motion to accept.
We have to do public testimony
Oh.
first. Do we have public testimony?
Lowenstein.
It turns out we don't. So
They're all here.
Fabulous presentation stands as it was given, which we appreciate. I'll entertain a motion. Sounds like Commissioner Ryan, you're prepared to make a motion to accept the report. Commissioner Gonzalez seconds. Any further discussion? Great. Please call the roll.
Rubio.
This was a really great presentation, and I really want to thank Lex and Aubrey and all of our guests today that put in the tireless work and advocacy that led to this important milestone today. I also want to thank Seraphy for being here and for their foundational work as well. Thank you, Seraphy. It's great to see you. So this has truly been a long time coming. More than a year ago, Lex, when you and other community members first shared this vision for a more comprehensive and meaningful plan by the city for the LGBTQIA+ community. And this essentially made us more accountable to walking our talk about inclusivity and equity and justice, and also ensuring that this community is seen, is appreciated, and recognized for their contributions to the city. So I suspect that today's the first of many full circle moments to come, which I'm looking forward to that. And amid, as we talked about and have heard from testimony, amid a lot of the legislation and alarming rhetoric that we're hearing targeting members of LGBTQIA+ community, we have a moral and civic obligation as a city to promote and protect all human rights in this city. And in Portland, we need to invest in work like this to focus on promoting equity, reducing disparities based on sexual orientation, gender identity within and outside of our city government. So I like what I heard today about we need to proudly embrace our identity as a pro-equality city, that makes us special, and it's important to set that standard for the rest of the world. And this plan for the intersectional framework helps to build the trust within community. That is precisely what we need right now. And in fact, we're really long overdue for it. So we need to be challenging ourselves to better serve the community members, both in and outside government. And this framework helps set a vision to get us there. So I just want to say thank you again for all the incredible work that you've done. It's very profoundly important, especially today and right now. So I look forward to seeing the work unfold. So congratulations on all this great work, and I vote aye to accept the report.
Ryan.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, team. It was great to see you do this in front of everybody. I had the pleasure of being in a couple meetings where you were giving me updates on the report. So well done. And to bring in the partners, it was just really a wonderful presentation, as Commissioner Rubio just said. A few other comments. Lex and Aubrey, you're great. It's great to hear that we have some momentum of support for not having seen a 50% reduction. And I'm glad, Jeff, that you made the case for all of the positions. That was a good dialogue between Commissioner Maps and you. Seraphy, you're still here. Thanks for coming down. It's always good to see you. It was a surprise jolt of joy when you walked in. I think that I also heard more today than I did in other two reports, because your partners were here, on how these are resources for the external community. Sometimes it doesn't seem like that when you're in the meetings about these reports. So to hear that this is a resource, let's continue to lean into that. And the safe haven comments are really valid. I think all of us have heard those stories directly. I know I have. And it's the ignorance of places in the country right now that are being so aggressive about this. Their ignorance is our investment. Their pettiness is our prosperity. And their shame is our love. So you're welcome and wanted, and we will always be a safe haven as we move forward in our beloved city. Thanks so much. Great report.
Gonzalez.
I vote aye.
Maps.
Again, I want to thank the mayor and Commissioner Ryan for bringing this item forward. I want to thank Lex, Aubrey, and Jeff, and all the invited testimony for their presentation today. Again, the partnership between my office and this program has been amazing. I'm excited to continue this work, but I also think we have to have some clarity in terms of where we're at right here. We all support this work. We had a two-person office. One of those positions is permanent. One of those is temporary. The temporary position is going to go away at the end of this fiscal year. I think we have to really put our money where our mouth is on this. I'm looking for 3 votes to get this done. If I heard what I heard from Commissioner Ryan correctly, I think I got maybe 1 vote over there. I can't speak for you. All right. So we're looking for 1 more vote to figure out how to make this permanent. I look forward to this discussion as we move forward. I vote aye.
Thank you, Auctioneer Maps. That was cool.
Be careful about getting votes in public.
Yeah.
Future budget item. Any rate, we don't want the budget police to come after us. Thank you. I'm happy to support this work. And Seraphi, it's great to see you again. And now I'm in a position to look back on my administration. I'm not gone yet, but I will be before you know it. In fact, the next time you give this report, I won't be here. But I'm very happy to look back over the course of 7 years and see the really good work that we did together, which built on the work that previous administrations and previous city councils had done. And through it all, there has been a commitment to our employees and a commitment to the broader community. And we have not only not stepped backwards, we have moved forward. We have moved progress forward each and every year and at each and every turn, because we've had great leaders like you, like Seraphi, like others who testified, many frankly who aren't here, who are out in the community just doing the dog work of supporting people's basic rights. And so I'm proud of the little contributions I was able to make along with my administration over a period of many years. And I'm hopeful that that tradition continues here at Portland City Hall, that we will be clear, we will be loud, and we will continue to be supportive of what we believe is right when it comes to the basic human rights of our fellow citizens. I'm happy to support this report. I vote aye, and the report is accepted. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Sure, why not?
Colleagues, I think our staff is about to faint. Why don't we take a 10-minute recess before we get into the regular agenda? So we're in recess till maybe a couple of minutes before noon. We're in recess. Foreclosures. I'm going to do them in a particular way here, so bear with me. Keelan, can you please read items 121, 124, 126, and 127?
Yes. Item 121, initiate foreclosure action at 6227 South Kelly Avenue for the collection of delinquent city liens placed against the property. Item 124, initiate foreclosure action at 6329 Southeast 86th Avenue for the collection of delinquent city liens placed against the property. Item 126, initiate foreclosure action at 855 Northeast Church Street for the collection of delinquent city liens placed against the property. And item 127, initiate foreclosure action at 2706 Southeast 122nd Avenue for the collection of delinquent city liens placed against the property.
Colleagues, I'm pulling these items back to my office to allow staff more time to work on the ordinances. Keelan, could you please read the remaining items, which are 118, 119, 120, 122, 123, and 125 into the record?
Item 118, initiate foreclosure action at 3316 Southeast 131st Avenue for the collection of delinquent city liens placed against the property. Item 119, initiate foreclosure action at 12914 Northeast Halsey Street for the collection of delinquent city liens placed against the property. Item 120, initiate foreclosure action at 1300 North River Street for the collection of delinquent city liens placed against the property. Item 122, initiate foreclosure action at 5923 North Detroit Avenue for the collection of delinquent city liens placed against the property. Item 123, initiate foreclosure action at 6214 North Kirby Avenue for the collection of delinquent city liens placed against the property. Item 125, initiate foreclosure action at 3735 Southeast Martin Street for the collection of delinquent city liens placed against the property. That's it.
That's it. That's all?
I think so.
Very good. These ordinances are part of a coordinated effort by the Mayor's Office, the Bureau of Development Services, the Revenue Division, and the City Attorney's Office to pursue remedies for vacant and distressed properties with delinquent lien payments. It begins the foreclosure proceedings on 10 properties with delinquent city liens that are eligible for foreclosure in accordance with City Code 5.30. The liens were placed against the properties by the Bureau of Development Services for code enforcement violations, various nuisances, nuisance abatement, and/or chronic offender violations. These properties have been identified as causing significant problems for neighbors, and they're the subject of multiple and frequent police calls and numerous enforcement activities. The Revenue Division works closely with BDS to identify properties with delinquent account balances, many of which are designated as vacant and distressed properties by BDS's Extremely Distressed Properties Enforcement Program. Kevin Foster, our foreclosure prevention manager, is with us today to take us through the item and introduce his co-presenters. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor Wheeler and City Council. For the record, I'll state my name, Kevin Foster, Foreclosure Prevention Manager in the Bureau of Revenue and Financial Services Revenue Division. Joining me today is Sharon Nickelberry Rogers, Supervisor of the Budget and Liens team with the Revenue Division. Also joining me virtually is Bridget O'Callahan, the City Treasurer. Next slide, please. At our last council meeting, I submitted 9 properties for foreclosure approval. On one ordinance, I submitted 9 At our last council meeting, I submitted 9 properties for foreclosure approval on one ordinance. We were able to remove 4 of the 9 properties by working out arrangements with the owner or their representatives. At the advice of council, we are submitting each property on a separate ordinance. This change in the process will give us the opportunity to remove properties if we are able to reach an agreement if we are able to reach an agreement with the owner, and will prevent delays in properties that should be moved forward. This presentation will encompass all the properties we are seeking approval today for foreclosure. Next slide, please. I'm going to start by giving a high-level overview of the City of Portland Assessments, Liens, Collections, and Foreclosure Program. Assessments include code violations, nuisance complaints, also various activities for new developments and infrastructure improvements. Each assessment results in a lien placed on the property. There are 2 types of liens, non-bonded and bonded. After the lien is placed on the property and becomes 30 days delinquent, collection efforts begin. The collection team makes calls and sends letters to get the owner to set up payment arrangements for their delinquent lien. After 90 days and no response, it is forwarded over to me for review. After my review is completed, I too will try to reach the owner to engage them. If unable to come to an agreement or engage them in negotiations, I will recommend for foreclosure for the property. Foreclosure is used as a last resort to engage the owner for eligible liens that are 90 days delinquent for non-bonded and 1 year delinquent for bonded. The 6 properties we're presenting for foreclosure are all for non-bonded liens for code violation and nuisance complaints. Next slide, please. This targeted approach to the foreclosure program began with the mayor's office in 2016. The target is vacant and distressed properties throughout the city. Our goal is to minimize the effects and problems these properties create in the community. Again, foreclosure is used as our last resort. The ultimate goal is to motivate the property owner to bring the property into a productive use. All of the properties we're proposing today meet the criteria for foreclosure consideration. Next slide, please. Here is a list of characteristics of vacant and distressed properties. The common theme is little to no action is taken by property owners to rehabilitate their properties. These properties cause public health and safety concerns in the communities they are in. If the violations are not corrected, the city's fees increase over time. Next slide, please. The city of Portland and the community at large have the reasonable expectation that property owners are responsible for the maintenance of their properties. The city, through its Property Compliance Division in the Bureau of Development Services, has adopted a property maintenance minimum standard. After a complaint is received when a property doesn't meet the minimum standard, BDS's approach include appeals, a host of waivers that property owners may qualify for to avoid liens being assessed to their property. There is also the opportunity to connect property owners with available repair assistance programs specific for their situation. The Bureau of Development Services monthly code enforcement fees are referred to the Revenue Division for assessment after the opportunities or incentives to correct the violation have been exhausted. Next slide, please. The city offers many opportunities to property owners to correct the violations and solve the delinquencies on their properties. As an example, when property owners are willing to resolve the violations, they can contact the Bureau of Development Services and apply for the Lien Reduction Review Program. The Bureau of Development Services review the case after the issue is corrected and the case is closed. Once that review is complete, the amount owed is typically decreased. If the owner is not able to pay the balance in full, then the Revenue Division will provide a payment plan that allows the property owner to repay the amount owed in monthly installments, which can go up to 60 months. Another example is the Bureau of Development Services one-time pre-foreclosure offer, which is a one-time program offering automatic reductions once the case is closed. The owner can also work with BDS to get a waiver. Next slide, please. Today, we recommend 6 properties for foreclosure, 16 liens, $747,000 owed. Therefore, the Revenue Division recommends that council approve these properties for foreclosure. 1 property is still outstanding from a 2020 ordinance. This property will be included in this upcoming sale. This property has 3 liens on it, and $111,000 is owed. Next slide, please. In order to stay true to our city's values, we wanted to look at equity in this process and ensure Black, Indigenous, and people of color are not being disproportionately harmed. We looked at the data of the people who actually lived in the property as they would be affected by the foreclosure. We used census data from 2020 provided by the Population Research Center, which confirmed BIPOC community members would not be disproportionately impacted if we proceeded with foreclosure. Last week, the Bureau of Development Services sent out an inspector to each property and confirmed that each property was vacant. Next slide, please. The first property is located at 3316 Southeast 131st Avenue. This property has one lien on it, and it is from 2022, and $3,000 is owed. The property is covered in trash debris. There are numerous sanitation and safety violations at this property. The property has complaints for squatter activity. There has been excessive police calls to the property. In the last 60 days, 2 certified letters have been sent to the owner, and I've been unable to reach the owner by phone. Next slide, please. This property is located at 12914 Northeast Halsey Street. There are 2 liens against the property, the oldest dating back to 2017. The amount owed is $73,000. There are abandoned vehicles parked at the property. There are bags of garbage as well as furniture, appliances, tires, construction materials, and metal debris at the property. The yard is overgrown to the point it blocks emergency access if it were to be needed. In the last 60 days, 2 certified letters have been sent to the owner, and I've been unable to reach the owner by phone. Next slide, please. The next property is located at 1300 North River Street. There are 3 liens against this property, the oldest one dating back to 2008. The amount owed is $561,000. This property is a warehouse that suffered severe fire damage back in 2017. After the fire, the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality determined that the roofing paper contained 90% asbestos. The Oregon Department of Environmental Quality requested Environmental Protection Agency assistance in conducting air monitoring, surveying the area for debris, and addressing mixed asbestos contamination at the warehouse and the debris deposited in the residential area across the river. With the property being vacant and not in condition to be used as a warehouse, a small RV camp has formed at the site. This has resulted in many police calls to the property. The oldest code violation is from 2008, and this violation has still not been corrected. The structure is missing supporting beams, and the inspector observed an unpermitted structural remodel of the building in the back of the property being done. 2 certified letters have been sent to the owner within the last 60 days. I have spoken with the owner a few times, and each time he does ask for additional time to get the work done, but has not, as of today, no progress has been made. Next slide, please. This property is being removed from the list. Next slide, please. The next property is located at 5923 North Detroit Avenue. This property has 2 liens against it. The oldest lien is from 2022. The amount owed is $16,000. The owner is deceased, and the owner's son was living in the property but ordered to vacate by court order in May 2022. Per the court order, he cannot come back to the property for 3 years. The front door of the property is open to entry, and the neighbors have reported squatter activity at the property. The property also has excessive garbage, complaints for tall grass, and the electrical connection between the house and the garage is not protected, exposing it to the outside elements. There's been several calls for police to the property and nearby. In the last 60 days, we've sent out 2 certified letters to the property, and no response has been received. Next slide, please. The next property is located at 6214 North Kirby Avenue. This property has 5 liens against it. The oldest one is from 2018. The total amount owed is $61,000. This property had a hash oil explosion added in 2017, which sadly killed the homeowner. The explosion decimated the property. Left on the lot is the house foundation that is collapsing. The foundation is open and unprotected. Squatters are living in a tent on the property. Several police calls have been made at and near the property. 2 certified letters have been sent out to notify the estate of the pending foreclosure action. No response has been received. Next slide, please. This property is also being removed. Next slide, please. The next property is located at 3735 Southeast Martin Street. This is one property with 2 tax lots. The property has 3 liens against it. The oldest lien is from 2021. The amount owed is $34,000. There are yard debris, household furniture, recyclables, and other trash all over the exterior of the property. The property is open to entry at the rear, and there has been complaints from neighbors of squatter activity. In 2021, there was a fire at the property which left the roof damaged because of firefighting operations. The house has stagnant water accumulated in the inside of the house, creating mold and mildew present on the walls and ceiling. In the last 60 days, 2 certified letters have been mailed out to the owner, but no contact has been made. Next slide, please. This property is also being removed. Next slide. This property is also being removed. Next slide, please. The next steps in the process, council, you will vote on whether to move forward with each ordinance. If approved, it authorizes the city treasurer to conduct the foreclosure sale. The property owner still has the ability to make the payment, to pay the amount owed up until the sale date. After the sale is administered, there is a redemption period of 1 year where the property can pay the back due payment and retain the property. This concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
If I could just make one small clarification. Excellent presentation, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate the photographs and some of the history of the properties as well. We will not be voting today. They're non-emergency ordinances, so we'll have our discussion. If there is any questions, if there is any public testimony, if there is any, then we'll move them to second reading before we vote on them. So we won't be voting today.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Great. Any questions at this juncture? Commissioner Maps.
I have a couple. Can we
Please.
take, my mic on? Can we pull up the slide for 3316 Southeast 131st? I think that might be the first house we looked at, maybe. Can you tell us more about this? This looks odd. The owner, if I'm understanding this correct, is the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. The amount of the lien is pretty small, $3,000. Is there an intuitive story about what's happening in this space?
It's just the level of complaints that the neighbor is receiving for this house.
All right, and there's squatters. I assume there's
Yes.
squatters inside? Okay. And I forget the number of it. Can we go to the slide? I think we had a warehouse that burnt down. But
Yes, that's 120.
can we take a look at that real quickly? Where to go? There, up, just close. Is that the warehouse? There's the warehouse. I think I heard in your presentation that the roof here was asbestos. Is there a hazardous waste issue in this space right now? Or do we know?
Commissioner, this is Mike Liefeld with the Bureau of Development Services. The EPA was brought in to conduct the remediation of that material, and it has been abated. So the hazardous material has been abated by the EPA through this cleanup recovery effort.
And is that a wharf over, is that like a dock over the water? Is that what we're looking at?
This was a warehouse built on piers extending into the water body. This is an older picture. All the decking has now been removed as part of that abatement activity, but we still have the pilings and pier support beams that are present in the water body and have been listed as a dangerous structure. So that those remaining items have been ordered to be removed and have yet to be corrected.
And I'll be frank with you, the thing that kind of perked my ears up here is that an RV camp has emerged in this space. Do we have a sense of how many RVs there? And is that, what I'm really trying to get at is, would this be an appropriate camp spot with appropriate remediation for a RV a safe park space, or, and I recognize that's probably no one's specialty in this room, but that's one of the things I'm thinking about when I look at this, although it's a complex property for sure.
It is a riverfront property, so there's not a lot of actual land
Okay.
Above the high water mark. So again, this property has value as riverfront property for industrial uses based on its zoning. The warehouse was essentially river contributing at one point, and then was just a warehouse that wasn't complying with zoning code regulations. There was squatting activity prior to the fire underneath the structure. So I don't think this would necessarily be redeveloped with a warehouse over the water again. The zoning would restrict uses for river dependent activity to utilize the river frontage.
Okay. Thank you very much. That makes a lot of sense. Mr. Mayor, I got no more questions.
Very good. Any further questions at this point? Commissioner Ryan?
Really good report, and I really appreciate how you've adapted to bringing them all to separating each one, because I recall last year we had one that was holding up all of it, correct? Okay. I think what's hard for me to wrap my head around sometimes is the 1 year period, the redemption period. And we've all probably received numerous emails when we make this decision, and then 6 months later, the conditions are worse at the site. So the neighbors are excited that we voted, yes on the policy, and then the 1 year is sometimes painful. How do we monitor those properties in that during that 1 year's time to maybe bring some extra attention to the issue with the neighbors who obviously have been complaining about the sites because of squatters and the increase in crime activity that comes with that?
I would defer that to Mike.
So upon approval of foreclosure, then we enter into the sale component. And if a sale is obtained, then we start the 1 year redemption period. That's a state statute that requires that length of time. During that time, BDS will continue to respond and manage the property. The redemption period is not ideal for BDS to manage the property for that long, but we do. If there are continued complaints of illegal access, unauthorized access, dumping, other types of dangers, we will continue to exercise our enforcement response to remove items, to board structures, to seek additional enforcement tools such as vacate orders. But the foreclosure in these properties is something that we do have to get started because it does provide an end date where something should happen, where if we can proceed with a sale, we can have someone turn it back into a productive use. So it is a long period of time. It's not ideal for anyone, but BDS will manage the property during that redemption period.
Mike, I appreciate that, and much of it was what I had some knowledge about. My point is, I think we need to improve our stewardship of those properties after we take the vote, and why we're waiting for the redemption period, the sale that goes on for some time. We've experienced since last year's vote that we haven't been on top of it, and so it's been painful to console the neighbors that are patiently waiting for such action. So I think we need better follow-up is my point. And I don't want to redo the policy on the fly. There was probably a real good reason for everything that you just said. It just doesn't seem to read the room well when it comes to the neighbors that have advocated for this action, and then their patience after we take the action. And it's really hard to explain to them why things continue to actually look worse than it was a year prior when we took the vote. Thanks.
Commissioner Rubio.
Yes, I just want to actually build on some of the things that Commissioner Ryan raised. I too agree that that after period is something to be clearer about and take a look at. My question, and Mike, hopefully you can answer this or at least shed some insight. Understanding that a lot of these pieces in the timeline are state regulated. Should we be advocating for fixes to the system for properties that we're talking, some of which we're talking about today, or what are your thoughts on that?
Can you clarify what types of fixes are we talking about? Lobbying for state statute changes to shorten a redemption period, or is it internal to city functions?
I'm thinking more in terms of the timeline from start to finish. It doesn't necessarily have to be the state redemption or the redemption period, but I'm curious about your thoughts on any piece as a whole, because the totality of the impact is what is experienced by the neighbors, the neighborhood.
Well, since 2011, BDS has stood up a program to deal with the most extremely distressed properties. We know that they need a lot of attention, and so we assign specific resources. They're limited resources, but we do the best with those resources. We tackle those tough properties. And through that program, we're looking to exercise all of our tools, such as a code hearing for a vacate to remove folks. When structures are beyond utility and their lifespan and there's no reuse of them, we will seek a demolition order when appropriate. And then ultimately, we're advancing these when all tools fail, we're advancing these for consideration of foreclosure, knowing that that is a process to get that property removed from the current property owner into a property owner who can rehabilitate the property. Those essentially are the tools that we have afforded to us. The timelines are based on resources. And if there's a will to move faster on some of these issues, we can certainly look at that.
Thank you. And let me be clear, I was more thinking in terms of the state role, not necessarily the city as much.
I know that issue has come up when we started reintroducing foreclosure candidates, and we would need to work with the city attorney's office and government relations to see what opportunities there are to ask for a code change to that redemption period. I'm not well versed whether that's something that can be changed or if there's other impediments to changing that requirement.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Do we have public testimony on these items?
We do, Mayor. We have 2 people signed up.
All right, let's hear them.
First up, we have Jane Monson. Jane's joining us online.
Hi, Jane.
So is it my turn to testify?
It sure
Jane?
is. Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead, Jane.
I'm on the board of my neighborhood association, and in October, we received a letter from the neighbors living adjacent to the derelict property at 3735 Southeast Martins, pleading for our help in getting the city to secure this property against illegal entry. This particular property has been neglected since the owner died in 2020, and the heirs, we understand that the heirs have disclaimed any interest in the trust, so that shouldn't be an issue for the city. The large fire that they referenced left these gaping holes in the roof, and it also injured a firefighter. And the neighbors are terrified that another fire will damage their properties. A fire battalion chief visited the property a few days ago to assess how to deal with that possibility. My husband and I do not live directly adjacent to the property, but we're personally affected by it. We frequently smell toxic smoke from the unlawful occupants burning whatever they can find in and around this house. The most recent episode was January 28th, and somebody at the house was burning materials that gave off a very strong plastic smell. And when I checked my air quality sensor, it was reading in the red, unhealthy range, and my sensor is located 500 feet away from this property. And I can't even imagine how bad it was for the adjacent neighbors. My neighbors and I are concerned about the health effects of being constantly subjected to dangerous smoke from this property, not to mention all the other issues such as suspicious activity, trespassing through their properties, and piles of garbage and rats. I urge the city to move forward to foreclose this property. But in the meantime, if you could make sure that the property is secure from illegal entry, we're just really frustrated about the slow pace at which it takes to get a warrant signed by the judge And then, the paperwork gets lost at the city and then they have to start all over on the warrant. And so it's just, we've been trying to get a warrant to get this thing boarded up, going on 2 months now. And we're concerned about, all the illegal activity that will happen in the meantime. So anyhow, whatever the city can do to move forward on this will be greatly appreciated by the neighbors.
Great, thank you very much, Jane.
Mr. Mayor, can I
Commissioner Maps, go ahead.
follow up? Jane, thank you for your testimony. And actually, I have a question for staff. Who should Jane and the neighbors call when they have concerns like this about, fires coming out of this place? Or is there someone in the city who can help coach the neighbors through this process? Or is that a gap in our service system?
Yes, again.
Can I actually address that? Because
Sure.
we've been getting conflicting information, we're told call 911, no, do an online report, no, call 311. We don't even know who the best person is to report this stuff.
Yeah, it would seem like development services, but I don't know if that's true. We have some smart people in the room. Commissioner Ryan, or does anyone know?
Yes. Again, Mike?
Yes. So for these issues, the public would want to continue to contact the Bureau of Development Services through our code line. We have open cases, and those calls will be directed to that inspector, and we will respond to those new issues as we are made aware of them. So yes, that this is part of there are open cases, so we'll continue to manage those and respond to new and changing conditions out there.
Yeah, and I'm aware of that. I'm working with some people in your office already, but it's when they see current activity going on the property. Somebody's trespassing through there's an elderly woman who lives north of the property and her husband's got dementia. They trespass through her property. What does she do when she sees, does she call 911? Does she just file an online report? 311? We don't have a definitive answer on what the neighbors are supposed to do when they see current illegal activity, like somebody shows up a couple times a week and does something in the garage. And, it's all very suspicious, but, we don't trespass on the property, but there's people that are showing up that are clearly trespassing. So who are we supposed to call about that?
Mayor.
Or just file a report with
that to the
BDS?
Bureau of Development Services regarding the illegal activity. That would be a criminal matter, and you could contact Portland Police, but I'm not sure how they would respond to a claim of trespassing from a neighbor. I don't know what the response would be, but certainly when there's activity going on the property, BDS wants to be aware of that.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yeah, Jane, I just want to clarify one piece. If you're witnessing current criminal behavior, or a neighbor is, call 911. If it's ongoing, in particular, if there's any threat to a person or property that's imminent, or we have the ability to disrupt the criminal behavior, call 911 if it's current. Once an event has passed and you've witnessed it and we can't apprehend somebody, then non-emergency for criminal behavior is fine. That's 823-3333. But if something's imminent, I'd call 911 in that situation. Just recognizing that it is a limited resource, so we don't want to overdo it if it's, if we can't bust someone at the moment, or it's not, a threat to life or to property. That's the only qualification on that. But if you're witnessing crime, 911's fine.
Okay, I'll pass that along to the neighbors.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Sean Allison online.
Welcome.
Hello, for the record, I'm Sean Allison. I'm a Portland resident and testifying on the matter at hand. I want to thank the Revenue Office for all of the work they've done to get us this far, as well as BDS. So in my background, you see what I see from my patio, mere feet away from the property. You've heard about the property, so I won't get into the damages. One thing of note, you will see the large trees behind are the connection to the forest canopy that runs along East Moreland. And given the history of fires and the burning of garbage recently, we are very concerned about this. In addition to the testimony provided by others, as well as what the Revenue Office has written up, I'd like to add additional information to emphasize the lack of interest any owners or those who have a lien on the property have taken. I've contacted the owner of record, the trust as mentioned, as well as the mortgage servicing company in 2022, among other times. I've highlighted the safety risks posed to the larger community because of the fire risk, as well as to children and elderly people who were scavenging the property at different times. The mortgage servicer responded that they would look into the matter, and they have done nothing since. The trust has also been absent and has taken no interest. I ask that you set aside any concern for any of those who may have an interest in the property on paper. In the 4 years this property has been distressed, their lack of action has made it clear that they do not care about this asset. I ask instead that you use the authority granted by the city to foreclose this property, in addition even to consider demolition under the Dangerous and Derelict Structures Code. Consider for a moment how you would feel if you don't take action and one of the elderly persons or children is harmed because of the danger presented by the property or the transients who frequent it, let alone all of the residents of Eastmoreland who would be affected by a widespread fire. Thank you for your time, and I urge you to vote in moving this forward in the foreclosure process.
Great, thank you, sir, appreciate it.
And that completes testimony.
All right, Commissioner Mapps.
Just one more question for the neighbors. As we move, when can they expect the facts on the ground to actually begin to change for these properties? I know there's a year where these properties are kind of in limbo, but for folks who are frustrated by the abandoned house next to them, do we have any sense of how much longer we have to wait before they should see some sort of resolution, or at least some change or improvements, or at least a transfer of ownership?
The transfer of ownership wouldn't happen unless it's bought by someone. And then it still could take up to a year simply because of the redemption period. I don't know if Mike has anything additional to add to that, but I mean, I understand that it's frustrating.
Yeah. Looks like we might have lost Mike. Well, that's disappointing. I think Commissioner Ryan and Commissioner Rubio, who've had direct experience in this space, clearly have heard stories like this. And for the neighbors who've been suffering for so long, I think asking them to wait another year, even it's great that we're making progress, asking them to wait a year to get this resolved, at best is deeply disappointing. And I understand why Portlanders would be frankly furious at us. I hope that we can think about how to do better.
Could I give a slightly different perspective on this? And I appreciate what my colleagues are saying, and I understand the frustration. And I say this every time foreclosures come before the Portland City Council. The process is designed for it to be very difficult for government to take private property. It is designed to be a slow, ponderous process with lots of opportunities for people to appeal, to get their property back, to make a last-minute payment. And those of you who went through this with me a year ago remember how many appeals were thrown out at the last minute. Believe me, if I were next to one of these houses, I would be extremely upset. I totally get it. And I agree with the commissioner that on public safety related issues or life safety related issues or livability issues, that's on us, regardless of whether that house is in foreclosure or not. And that's an area where I think we need to be more responsive. And I'm pleased with the programming that this council has set for the impact reduction program, as well as the work that we've been doing through our litter and graffiti abatement programming, as well as, frankly, our public safety response, as well as our homeless outreach and some of the efforts they've been making there. But when it comes to the slow plotting place of the foreclosure process, I just ask our fellow residents to understand that this process is not supposed to be fast and it's not supposed to be easy for us. When it was designed with the intention that it would be very hard for government to take private property. So I want to put that perspective on the table for what it's worth.
I appreciate that, and that's why I didn't want to legislate from here. I do think when you hear stories about the family, the trust not interested at all in the property, probably lives outside of the market, and there's dangerous and derelict activity going on, that we could have some adaptive solutions to some of the properties. So I hope that the staff looks at some adaptive solutions to those properties that everyone in the neighborhood is just scratching their head on why this is taking so long. And we don't have the emergency response to keep on it. And that's what I've experienced with these properties over the last couple of years. So it's worthy of having this dialogue.
Yeah,
it's a
for
real
sure.
pain point out there in our community right now.
Commissioner Rubio, do you have something else?
No, just I agree, and we have some ideas, and let's talk together offline.
All right, good. Then with that, I'll move these to second. Item 118 is a non-emergency ordinance. It moves to second reading. 119 moves to second reading. 120 moves to second reading. 122 moves to second reading. 123 moves to second reading. 125 moves to second reading. We will now move on with the agenda. Item number 128, a resolution.
Call for a public hearing hosted by the U.S. Postal Service related to changes affecting Portland postal workers and services.
Commissioner Rubio.
Thank you, Mayor. Colleagues, I bring this item to you today in support of and in collaboration with the Postal Workers United and other members of the community. The U.S. Postal Service is considering a 10-year consolidation plan that would displace our hardworking letter carriers to Beaverton from their neighborhood offices here in Portland. Our postal workers provide a vital public service each and every day. They keep us connected to our loved ones. They play an essential role in the commerce of goods, and in a state like Oregon, where we only vote by mail, the Postal Service is also key to our democracy. But under the leadership of the Postmaster General, this critical democratic postal service is being methodically dismantled in an institution that could potentially be sold off and privatized. Under this consolidation plan, 50,000 postal workers could be downsized, while hundreds of letter carriers could be forced to leave the city of Portland at a time where we need our workforce to remain in Portland. This means much longer commutes, potentially elimination of jobs of many clerks who sort our mail locally every day. It also means retail hours will be reduced, post offices could be merged or closed, and our local economy will once again be negatively impacted at the expense of these changes and these workers. And at a time when this council and our community and business partners are doing all we can to ensure our city recovers and comes back strong, it goes without saying that the hub for postal activity should remain in the state's largest city and close to the Portland International Airport. We need to do everything we can to keep these jobs and commercial activity and economic development within the Portland city limits. And this is not just happening here in Portland, it's also happening in Eugene, in Medford, in the East Coast, in Midwest, and also Southern United States. And we've seen the effects of these measures elsewhere when this plan has started and through American cities as shipping prices have increased, postal facilities have closed, and mail service has slowed. But fortunately, we have communities and advocates like the communities and the Postal Workers United who are raising their voices to express their concerns about these decisions. And we have bipartisan federal elected leaders who are calling on the Postal Service to hold a hearing where they can listen to community concerns and answer questions. So this resolution simply urges our leaders in Washington, D.C. to schedule that hearing. And our postal workers in Portland community deserve no less. So I would like to now call the following individuals for invited testimony and to answer any questions on this issue. We have Jamie Partridge from Communities and Postal Workers United, as well as Daniel Cortez from the Oregon Postal Workers Union and Sarah Kowaleski from Portland Jobs with Justice. Thank you folks for showing up.
Over to you, Jamie.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you, Commissioner Rubio. I'm Jamie Partridge. I'm a retired letter carrier and organizing with Communities and Postal Workers United. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy's 10-year Delivering for America plan now includes consolidating letter carriers into massive sorting and delivery center hubs, as Commissioner Rubio described, forcing long commutes and travel times while eliminating clerk, trucker, and supervisor positions and reducing service and or closing local post offices. The Evergreen Post Office in Beaverton has been chosen to become a sorting and delivery center in June 2024, possibly receiving up to hundreds of letter carriers displaced from neighborhood post offices, what they're calling spoke offices, across Portland and Washington County. As Commissioner Rubio stated, Salem, Eugene, and Medford are also getting these massive SNDCs hubs, displacing carriers from spoke offices. Postmaster General DeJoy has already revealed his intention to displace tens of thousands of letter carriers from neighborhood post offices, adding up to an hour commute and an hour travel time to their routes. But the USPS is refusing to reveal where, when, how. The Postal Regulatory Commission is asking, senators and Congress people are asking, but transparency is not on offer. Back in September, the Postal Regulatory Commissioner, Robert Taub, told Congress that delivering for the America plan may represent the most fundamental change to the network since Ben Franklin was the Postmaster General. Yet these changes are taking place with little or no oversight by the government. The media is even less interested in the plan. Most of the news articles about the consolidation of processing centers and relocation of letter carriers simply repeat the Postal Service press releases about modernizing the aging and outmoded postal network. In the meantime, postal rates go up, volume goes down, jobs are eliminated, service deteriorated. We are looking for a community hearing called by the U.S. Postal Service and involving local elected officials, senators, congresspeople, and community members and postal workers to answer our concerns and questions about these sorting and delivery centers consolidations and their impact on jobs and service. As well, we demand that President Biden appoint new postal governors who would dump DeJoy, or at least slow, pause, and suspend his disastrous 10-year plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. I think we have Daniel Cortez online, or is he?
I don't think so. Daniel was called in sick today.
Okay. And is Sarah Kowalski here? All right, Sarah?
Yes. Good afternoon, Mayor Wheeler, Commissioners Rubio, Mapps, Gonzalez, and Ryan. My name is Sarah Kowalski, and I'm the coalition organizer for Portland Jobs with Justice. Portland Jobs with Justice is honored to stand with our postal workers and support this resolution to protect the Postal Service by respecting the members' work. For as long as Jobs with Justice has been in existence, which is over 30 years, we have supported the members of the U.S. Postal Service. It is one of the longest running public institutions to ever exist. There are few public services which are as deeply important to the daily lives of every single Portlander, from resident to local business to voter, as the Postal Service. We are proud of our postal workers and how they fight to uphold just and consistent service to all. We are proud of our postal workers who ensure our right to vote. In contrast, the Trump-appointed Postmaster General Louis DeJoy has been a disgrace. He has delivered a disastrous 10-year plan of cuts, closures, and consolidation. We have repeatedly come out with our postal members to protest his plan, as we've all collectively witnessed shipping prices increase, postal facilities close, and mail service slowed. What we are speaking with you about today is just one more process in DeJoy's plan to destroy the Postal Service. The proposed establishment of sorting and delivery centers poses impacts which could be truly severe to Portland. If this plan goes forward, This means that the sorting and delivery that is currently happening at Portland post offices would be relocated many miles away. Carriers would need to drive many miles to their routes, which will increase costs and pollution. Portland would likely lose jobs at local post offices in the double digits, while hundreds of other workers would be forced to relocate. The excess space at the local post office where the carriers used to work will lead to hollowed out offices, and this could lead to post office closures. And what happens to Portlanders? We are all left in the lurch with slower mail and higher costs. The postal rates go up, the volume goes down, jobs are eliminated, and service standards deteriorate. None of us in Portland benefit from this plan. Not the worker, not the resident, not the local business, and not the voter. This community needs a local public hearing about these drastic changes at the USPS, which are occurring with little transparency and oversight. So Portland Jobs with Justice supports this resolution and City Council action to call for a timely public hearing held by USPS. And should USPS officials not answer this call, we will count on City Council action to convene local, state, and federal officials to hold public hearings about the proposed changes for Portland. As we continue to fight DJOY's 10-year plan to degrade this institution, we need City Council to call on President Biden to appoint 2 new Postal Board of Governors who will defend the public postal service and rein in the Postmaster General. Thank you for this resolution today.
Thank you. That concludes invited testimony.
Commissioner Maps.
I want to thank Commissioner Rubio for bringing this item forward, and I want to thank Jamie, Daniel, and Sarah for their presentation today. Let me start off by saying I support the Postal Workers Union, and I support the Postal Service. I think the Postal Service, people don't realize how important the Postal Service has been to this nation. Indeed, our early Postal Service, I believe, is one of the key innovations that really knit this nation together and helped us form a country. So this has always been something which is really close to my heart. I've been following, I follow postal politics fairly closely, but I will also confess this is a relatively new issue for me, and I'm trying to come up to speed. And one of the things I'm trying to figure out, I didn't get a briefing on this, which is unfortunate. Tried to do some of my own research, and I think I'm hearing contradictory messages about what's happening here. Commissioner Rubio, and I think some of the testimony said that we're going to be losing jobs out of Portland. But I think the only substantive article I could find on this came in I think there's an OPB article from February, well, when is this? I came across an article which seemed to suggest that they were closing some shops, I think maybe in Eugene and Medford, and building a new processing center in Portland. Is that right? Or, so I can't tell if jobs are leaving Portland or coming into Portland by virtue of this.
That's another consolidation process, which is different than the one, the sorting and delivery center. That's converting processing and delivery centers in Eugene and Medford into what they call local processing centers and sending the processing to Portland. So what's going to happen in those communities is worse than what's going to happen here. That is, they're going to lose dozens of jobs that would be processing the mail in those cities. And so like if a person in Eugene is sending a letter across the street, it goes all the way to Portland to be processed and then comes back to Eugene to be delivered.
I think that's helpful. So we have 2 different consolidation processes happening out there.
Yeah, and the main thing is that we don't know what's happening. We need to get more information from the Postal Service, and one of the best ways is to do public hearings, and that's happening across the country.
Yep.
And to raise the visibility so that pressure can be put on the Postal Service, which is not effectively happening at this point.
I got that, I support that, but I also have a second question, and this one is more of a process question, which I think I need to direct to Commissioner Rubio. I was reading through the language in this particular resolution, and basically what we're doing here is we're calling for, I think, the federal government to do to hold hearings on this locally. And we clearly need that because doing my good faith efforts to do research on this, even I couldn't figure it out as I've displayed for you. And then the second part of this, and I think we heard this in the testimony too, says, and this is a quote, if the U.S. Postal Service declines to host a local hearing, the Portland City Council, in collaboration with other local elected officials and members of Congress, will host such a hearing and invite U.S. Postal Service representatives. And I guess, Commissioner Rubio, I'm trying to figure out, how does that happen? Like, who organizes that meeting? Is that something your office does?
Yes, that is something that we have committed to doing and leading from my office, and we have already communicated with the Office of the Federal Delegation should that happen. So we will, if we get to that point, you will all be extended an invitation to participate, but we will be leading it from my office.
Great. Well, I look forward to that. I hope we don't have to get to that
You
point.
too.
I hope the feds organize this session. If they don't organize this session, I look forward to participating in the event Commissioner Rubio's office is organizing. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Ryan?
Yeah, that was a great interaction, and so I don't really have to say much except good to see you, Jamie. Thank you, Commissioner Rubio, for your leadership on this. I was really attached to what the federal delegation was doing about it, and I'm really surprised that that guy's still there. I don't know why President Biden hasn't appointed someone new. Anyway, above my pay grade, but there is a way to mobilize, and thank you for the leadership, Commissioner Rubio.
So could I ask a question? Thanks for coming in, and thank you for bringing this issue to our attention. What has been the response of our federal delegation, and why aren't they organizing these hearings?
Oh, well, we haven't asked them.
May I ask why not? This is a federal issue predominantly.
Well, we want a local hearing, and I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you. We had a rally a month ago where we were raising these same concerns and asking for our congressional representatives to be involved. And we didn't get a response at that time, and we didn't press it. Commissioner Rubio was at the rally, offered to help out, and so we went that direction.
Yeah, and I certainly have no problem with that.
And we do have-
First of all, I love my postal carrier. I want to say that. It would be very difficult to beat the postal carrier on my street in my neighborhood. It is straight up and straight down, both ways. He's a real trooper, and I always appreciate it. I just want to say that because I rarely have the opportunity to say that in public. Commissioner Rubio, I certainly have no problems if you want to host a town hall or something on any subject. That's fine. I was just curious that it's come to Portland City Council before it's come to our federal delegation. They're duly elected for the purpose of representing our interests in the federal government. And I have no interactions with the U.S. Postmaster or frankly any of the federal team that has anything to do with this. I'm happy to show my support, but I think there's a step missing here.
If I could just offer that this kind of activity on the local level is happening all over the country because these consolidations are happening in the local levels, and different constituencies are responding differently. Sometimes there's the congressional delegation, sometimes it's the mayors of several cities, and sometimes it's city councils, and so we're definitely all involved with the Postal Service.
Okay, got it.
And if I can shed some light, my staff, Angela, can you just share an update? We too want to make sure that we're thoroughly engaging our federal delegation, and we have communicated with them. And Angela, if you can just give us a sense of where we're at.
Thank you, Commissioner. For the record, Angela Rico, and I'm a senior staff policy advisor to Commissioner Rubio. And that's correct. So we are engaging with our federal delegation, as Jamie stated, trying to shed light on this issue for our Portland workers has been really challenging for the different areas. So they reached out to the Portland City Council. As you know, we are very accessible to our workers here in Portland. And when they requested somebody to step up and help them raise their voice, they didn't know where to go. So we were that first step for them. And I appreciate you for coming to us and asking us for help. So we are working closely with the Office of Government Affairs. Jack Arriaga has been incredibly helpful. Thankfully, he used to work on post office issues with Congresswoman Bonamici. So it's been really great to work with him. So we are sort of that step in helping them understand how to navigate this issue. They're all coming to us.
All right, good. That's helpful. Commissioner Maps?
Just one more, I'm glad you're here. One more question. I think the resolution calls for our federal delegation to take action within the next 30 days. So if we don't get action within the next 30 days, then I would expect, when would we expect the Rubio Town Hall and the post office to happen? Is that like late March or so, or what are you thinking?
Thank you, Commissioner Maps. We are going to start looking at dates. We're hoping that the hearing happens. If come the end of February, we still have not heard anything, then we're going to start seriously working with our congressional counterparts, and they have already committed to, if they themselves cannot come to the town hall, they will send staff members.
Okay, great. So we go through this month, wait for the feds to move, and then if we don't get any action out of the feds, Commissioner Rubio's office and the rest of council will, Commissioner Rubio's office will plan the public hearing, and of course, I can commit to being there right now.
Great. Do we have public testimony on this item? All right, this is a resolution. Please call the roll.
Rubio.
I would like to thank Jamie and Sarah for their testimonies today and for bringing into the public discussion these very real changes that could potentially come to our communities without any public input. I also especially want to acknowledge Jamie Partridge for his decades of leadership, not only as a former postal worker in the labor movement, but also as an advocate for equity and justice and frontline communities. So thank you, Jamie. I hope that with this action today, we will provide somewhat of a platform to continue advocating for Portland to retain these critical postal services and for the community that we all serve. Thank you, and I vote aye.
Ryan.
I vote aye.
Gonzalez. Maps.
I want to thank Commissioner Rubio for bringing this item to council's attention. I want to thank Jamie for being here today. Great to hear from Sarah and Daniel too. I look forward to our local hearings. I vote aye.
Wheeler.
Aye. The resolution is adopted. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next item is a second reading, item 129.
Authorized contract with Prologis LP to fund 30 years of anticipated power and maintenance costs for a new traffic signal at North Schmear Road and North Whitaker Road for $150,000.
Colleagues, we have heard a presentation and have opportunity for public testimony. Any more business on this item?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I do have more business on this item. Colleagues, you might remember, do I have three? Yeah. This item came to us last week. I believe, if I recall correctly, private citizen Mark pointed out that we had a Scribner's error in some of the exhibits. What I need to do today is to propose an amendment to swap Exhibit B on this item. Then I hope we can vote on it, and then it'll come back to us in next week. So with that, I move to substitute Exhibit B. May I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Maps moves, Commissioner Rubio seconds. Any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Rubio.
Aye.
Ryan. Gonzalez. Maps.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye, the amendment passes. This is a first reading of a non-emergency ordinance. It moves to second reading as amended. Item 130, also a second reading.
Authorized contract with Prologis LP to fund 30 years of anticipated power and maintenance costs for a new traffic signal at North Schmear Road and Northeast Vancouver Way, North Vancouver Avenue for $150,000.
Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, please.
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Maps.
We'll need to move the
Oh,
exhibit for this one.
yeah, there's another exhibit on this one.
Yeah, so I think on this one, I need to swap out the exhibit. So I'd like to move to replace Exhibit B. All right. Yeah, get a second.
I'll
Oh,
second.
second, sorry.
I beat you. For
There you
once,
go.
I actually
Very
got in
good.
there ahead of you. Look at that. Commissioner Maps moves the proposed amendment for Exhibit B. Any further, and I second it. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call the roll on the amendment.
Rubio.
Aye.
Maps.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye, the amendment passes. This is a first reading of a non-emergency ordinance. It moves to second reading. Back to the consent agenda. Could you please read item 115?
Assign certain program functions to commissioners in charge in anticipation of the future service area realignment to support transition to the mayor-council form of government.
Colleagues, item 115 has been pulled from the consent agenda and it will be referred back to my office. And I believe we're done, right? Great, we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.